to the Black Manosphere Conclave 5.0.
We got started in 2021 in Atlanta, united in the pursuit of excellence in all things. It's been one hell of a ride.
Can I tell you what's on my mind? 'Cause I've been thinking about it for quite some time. Hey, can you give me a moment to declare my love? Can I tell you what's on my mind?
We're now focusing more on opportunities for men, in particular passport bros. Guys who go abroad, they want to have a different lifestyle, they want to have a different achievement abroad. Oh yeah, there's without a doubt the narrative has changed for us greatly.
I just finished speaking and having a chance to tell individuals about how to live the American dream outside of America. And I was here to help so many men when it comes to understanding what they need to do in order to relocate.
With the political climate, things that are happening worldwide, guess what? Nobody's coming to save us. So it is indicative that we all bound together, tighten up like a fist, and strike a mighty blow against everything that's fighting to stop us, man.
It's nothing but good, positive people, good, positive energy with one goal in mind, and that is to make money, get the hell out the Matrix, and enjoy your life. You dig? So shout out to all of y'all. Theme music.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is your man, Marcus J. Brown, and I'm here to tell y'all that I just got done with my first consultation with the brother Andre of Love Crossing Borders. I just wanted to give him his praises. I need y'all to do two things if you haven't already. If you haven't, subscribe to his YouTube channel, Love Crossing Borders. Also, if you are going to Colombia, if you're thinking of going anywhere, traveling internationally, please consider booking a consultation with the OG Andre of Love Crossing Borders. You will not be disappointed. And y'all, get in tune with him if you haven't already. Tell him MAB sent you. Peace.
Where are all the black men? And I'm not talking about the scammers, the drug dealers, the robbers, and the crooks.
Well, actually,
we're here on a Friday night with Andrea, Love Crossing Borders, my man T, Mac, and Will, and anybody else that might be popping up tonight, because we got a great topic tonight. This is a motivating topic, an inspirational topic, if you will, regarding the city of Medellin, Colombia. Over the last few years, there's been a misconception about what Medellin stands for, what Medellin offers, and for those individuals that have been living in Medellin, that's your juice. I know. I made a mistake and put that in the fridge. I know. I caught that. Yeah. Thank you for interrupting my intro, Mrs. Spence. All right. Shout out to all you guys that are here. We're going to be talking about Medellin, Colombia, and we're going to be listen to some guys, and hopefully I invited some ladies up as well that are living in Medellin, Colombia, having great lives there, and are showcasing the other side of Medellin. A lot of times we hear so much about Medellin when it comes to the nightlife and the night opportunities. Well, there are men and women that are actually bringing their families, their loved ones, their business opportunities, buying property, as well as networking, creating network and volunteering in the community, as well as setting up nonprofit programs. We're going to hear from some of those gentlemen, and hopefully some of the ladies, if they plan on coming to the channel. We're going to hear from them, and we're going to have a video montage. I want to hear what they have to say about some of the things that we're going to be speaking on, including some of the opportunities for you veterans out there when it comes to being in Medellin, Colombia. Shout out to you guys once again. So because we have our guests that are already here, waiting in the wings, we're not going to take too long on the intros. I'll probably do a shout out to the first 10, 20 guys that are here. Appreciate every one of you. But I really want to get down to this particular topic because I don't want to waste any time. Of course, we all can tell there's a late night episode. So shout out to all you guys that are here late night. And first of all, give a shout out to my brother, Will. He's always supporting the channel by way of PayPal. Shout out to you, Will, with the $10 love over on the PayPal, as well as the 20 Colombian pesos that you are representing here. Salute to you, Will. And Will is one of our guests for this evening. I'm excited about this. He says, salute Andre and chat family. Please tap that like button and support by way of Cash App, PayPal, or Super Chats. Have a pen and paper in hand, ladies and gents. Yes, sir. Have a drink in hand tonight. It is Friday night drink in hand. Yes, sir, gentlemen. He said, let's get down. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And shout out to Ishmael in the building. Be ready to take some notes. Ishmael said 3 of foes are using that Latina cop against us. Pathetic. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I haven't heard about this one. You got to give me a little bit more information on that one. But shout out to you being here, brother. Glad to see that you're here. Like I said, I'm going to give a quick shout out to the first 10 guys because Simple Logic is here, numero uno from Chester, VA. Shout out to you, brother. Glad that you're here. And Global Homie representing. What up, though? Glad to see that you're here. Blessings to everyone. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said living in LA is crazy. Paying $2K to be in the hood. Woo. That's diabolical. Unbelievable. I know T-Mac can speak on letting us know a little bit something about California out there. We got Tevin King. Shout out to Tevin being in the building. Glad to see that you're here. He said, greetings, Andre and Andrea. Happy first Friday of the month. Yes, sir. Shout out to all you guys. Happy first Friday. Shout out to the Detroit boys. My man, 313 Nate.
You better back the fuck up out my face, goddammit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Don't play with me.
And the Pistons, I looked at the halftime score, 60-38. The Pistons look like trash. Trash. And we're talking about Pistons are number 1 seed. Orlando is the 8th seed. We're talking about the worst team in the playoffs are smashing the best team in the playoffs. But hey, we can't do it without a 3-point shot. So shout out to you. Shout out to our Pistons. We'll see them next year. Shout out to David Dice in the building of the Dice family. Glad to see that you're here. And shout out to my man Guy Incognito. He say, why move to Colombia? Gas prices? I know, right? He said, I didn't vote for him. Just want to let you guys know I did not vote for this. And shout out to my man Jay Kaysen in the building. Appreciate you being here, Jay. Along with my brother Johnny. Johnny saying, hey, everyone. Hey, like Wayne on like the Wayne on what's happening. Shout out to you. And scroll back down because we got our brother Kenny Peoples in the building saying, buenas noches, mi amigos, Andre. Yes, sir. Glad to see that you're here, Kenny. Got my Uncle Jeffrey, Ghostface. I'll be seeing you at 11 o'clock in the morning, Jeffrey. Make sure we get you to the airport on time. And shout out, salutations, and salute to our other guest here, T-Max. Salute to that brother as well. I really want to hear what he has to say in regards to, because a part of the montage that we're having tonight in Medellin is the videos of some of the ex-military and retirees and the veterans that are down in Colombia as well. We got my boy JC. Yes, sir. He says this. He said, greetings, Dre. Blessings to you and your family. We extend a warm welcome to all attendees for what promises to be an insightful discussion. Dre's expertise, including the expertise of the other gentlemen, understanding of Colombia are true. It's true, gentlemen. It's true. We got, once again, Pharrell Ishmael in the building, and we got Bobby Coltrane of the Coltrane family. Salute to you, Bobby. Glad to see that you're here, brother. Let's scroll down just a little further. Look like I've got everybody. Look, I got Bobby. I've got Pharrell. Like Lex in the building. What up, brother? Glad to see that you're here, brother. Glad to see that you're here. We got Global Homie representing as well as Jermon. Yes, sir. So we're going to have a good show tonight, guys. I appreciate every one of you individuals that are here. And let me scroll down just a little further. And that's just about it. Looks like we got everybody. 28 in the building. Appreciate you, gentlemen, being here. Let me scroll to the super chats, make sure I got everybody. And he said he was explaining, he said a Latin cop or Latina cop in America who said, oh, I'm glad she got fired. I know who you're talking about now. I'm glad she got fired. The racist one that went on social media and said all that racial stuff. By the time she went to work on Monday, she was fired. She tried to apologize, but it was too late. She got fired. Yes, sir. And shout out to them Canadian boys, last but not least, in the building.
I told this guy where I was from. He said, oh, Canada.
Yes, sir. Glad to see that you're here. All right, guys, let's get ready to get started with this particular live stream. Because I've got some guests that I'm bringing up. These men know Medellin like the back of their palms, man, the back of their hands. And these guys are doing some great things, even in the volunteer in the nonprofit area of Medellin. These guys are putting some things together. They've been living in Medellin for quite a while, so it's no surprise that some of the changes that are taking in Medellin, we're going to change the music over, and we're going to hear what our brothers have to say about the city in which they call their second home, if not their first home. Let's change this music over. We're going to bring our guests up. Yes, sir. First of all, we got our brother T-Mac. And we got our brother Will. We got the remix in the background there. Can you hear it, Will?
I'm hearing some kind of feedback or something.
Yeah, you sound like you got a little feedback, Will.
Oh, I shouldn't. I don't have any.
It sounds
like something in the background. Yeah, when you came on something.
I don't have anything in the background playing.
Yeah, it went away.
Yeah, now you sound good.
All right. Yeah, there we
go. Look like I froze for a second. Blame it on
What's
my
up,
head,
brother
not my
Will?
heart.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, wonderful. How about yourself, Brother Dre?
I am doing pretty well, man. I can't complain. Just got done with a consultation with a brother that's moving down here. Him and his family moving from the States to Cali. And that kind of like piggybacks off of what we're talking about tonight, that there's a misconception about Colombia and especially Medellin that I want to just get a little bit of clarity about tonight. We're going to have some video footage that I want to hear. I want to see what you guys have to say about it and hear it. It's not long because I want to spend most of the time hearing what you guys have to say. But when it comes to Medellin, Colombia, it seems to be that a lot of guys assume one thing about Medellin, and that's the only thing about Medellin. But there are so many things that individuals have to offer when it comes to Medellin, and the city has to offer that guys are taking for granted. And so I figured I'd have you guys come up and speak. Before you guys speak on this topic and we bring the video up to get started, first thing we're going to talk about with the video, I purposely did this, was the veterans. We're going to talk about the veterans in a second. Anybody, I'm going to drop the link real quick. This is the StreamYard link for tonight. If you guys are living in Medellin or planning on living in Medellin and you want to come up on the show this evening, there is the link for you guys to be able to join the show this evening. So if you want to join for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a whole hour, just be able to cam up and share your stories. We want to showcase Medellin in a light that the city deserves. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are talking about the nighttime, but there's a lot more about Medellin that these men are going to be sharing with us. And if you guys want to share something with us, feel free as well. So there's the link for you gentlemen who want to join us. All right, before we get started, gentlemen, let's let T-Mac introduce himself, and then we'll let you, Will, introduce yourself in regards to your journey, who you are, where you're originally from, and you know, your how long you've been in Medellin, and then we'll go to Will.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I go by T-Mac, so if you haven't seen me before, now you do. I have my brothers on stage, you know, Brother Dre, Brother Will, so we're very familiar with each other. But I've been in Medellin about 5 years, going on 5. And so I came from the Orange County area, which is Southern California, about 40 miles south of Los Angeles. I was retired. I guess I had to retire due to disability for from an aerospace company. I was like an aerospace executive. in the engineering field, and I ran into some health issues. So, I spent 2 years with a disability. Even got to the point where I needed a caregiver. I was like in a wheelchair and everything. I was like, okay, looks like my life is over. I'm about to check out. That's how bad it was until they diagnosed me. But to make a long story short, during that time, I was like, if I recover, I'm gonna live my life, and accomplish the dreams that I always thought about. And one of those dreams was living overseas. So as soon as I recovered, or I got to the point, I didn't totally recover, but I got to the point where I was mobile and everything. I basically, went to the ex-wife, or she was wife at the time. I was like, we've been separated, about 7 years. So, we don't like each other that much, but we're still kind of like family. What you say, I go move to like Colombia and you like stay here and I'll take care of the expenses, pay the mortgage and everything. And we'll, I'll spend most of the time, there, and I'll, come back and spend some time with my daughter that we have, a teenager. So they all agree. She agreed. She was cool with it, and she wanted to get her space and get me out the house anyway. So that's all good. I still got my man cave there, which I inhabit when I visit. So, but before that time, I started making connections. Getting on some of the local groups in Medellin and meeting people. And I figured that if you're going to be chatting with somebody for like a year or two, and you're not offering any type of conditions, all you're doing is chatting. If they're going to chat with you, most likely they're pretty good people, right? Or otherwise they're not going to fool with you if they're like transactional people. So I met some people there. We became acquainted, and I actually hired them on kind of temporary basis to set things up for me here. And so when I got here, I was able to get an unfurnished apartment, get services set up, everything. And, I brought them on as full-time employees. And before I got my visa here, I actually set up what they call a SAS Corp, which is the equivalent to LLC. So I wanted to look at trying to get, my financial future set. And that's the way I believe it should be, because a lot of times online they sell you a dream, but they want to try to sell you the vacation side like 24/7 instead of telling you need to come with a plan and be able to like sustain yourself financially, while you're in a foreign country. So that was about 5 years ago. I came down here, and one of the friends I actually met, and we're just friends, straight out friends. I had no intentions of like any type of relationship. While I was dating somebody, and I broke up with her, and she was like, well, we've been friends for a couple of years. I'd like the opportunity to date you. I was like, really? I said, we kind of have a, 20-some year age gap. And she was confused. She was like, why would that matter? So eventually, to make a long story short, she became the mother of my daughter, and we've been together for almost like 4 years. So I do have a family here. My girlfriend, so she lives at her place. I have a daughter, which, I see her a few times a week, and right now, I don't know if we can talk about the veteran stuff, but a little bit later, maybe after Will, but Will, he's my brother. We interact a lot, and we are starting our own veterans nonprofit group with some other like-minded veterans to actually help to support financially and with supplies, Colombian organizations that work with children. So we're trying to help them to be able to, since they don't have the social structure that we have in the United States, to be able to fund some of these orphanages. So that's, in short, that's my background, and I'll pass it on.
All right, man. That's very informative, man. Even I learned a few things. You tell I was taking notes. So definitely. Here, Will.
All right. I'm from that city of steel, man. Gary, Indiana, Michael J.
Yeah.
Live right down the street from them, about 2 blocks. Michael Jackson's house is actually behind the high school that I went to, Gary Roosevelt. So I went straight into the military. I did 23 years. I've served overseas in numerous, countries. So being in Colombia is nothing new to me, or living in another country, because the military prepares you for a lot of things. So you don't have to worry about, if you're going to get homesick, because you're already seasoned to that. So that's not not an issue. So I was a intelligence guy when I was in the military. Started off as communications when I went to Operation Desert Storm. Then also went to Bosnia, went to Afghanistan, went to Iraq about 4 times. So I have a lot of deployments, and just a blessing to be here because some of my brothers and sisters didn't make it back. And so I've been coming to Medellin since 2021, and of course a lot has changed since then. One thing that I can say about being in the military is that it helps you to navigate in different countries. So the do's, the don'ts. So typically, if you understand the dynamics of the country and the culture, which that's the thing that they teach us in the military, always understand the culture, understand the people, and then you won't have any problems. So been coming to Colombia since 2021. Then I moved here in 2024 when I retired from federal service, worked as an intel officer in different capacities, counterintelligence, intelligence, even as military, I was in special operations. And, whenever you're part of that community as a military, it's actually easy to get a job and clearances whenever you switch over to the civilian side. One of the things I could say about Colombia, and I'm not going to, talk too much because I guess Andrea asked a lot of questions throughout. But the thing is that it's not so much as about having common sense. It's just really reading and understanding what's going on around you. Definitely get a consult. I consulted with T-Mac before I moved here. We talked on, WhatsApp, during that time. I did a consultation with Dre. There was, Life with David. There's a few good people that, put out some really good content. So Medellin is changing for the best. They're definitely looking at, a different type of people because, they're different. They want to cater to the retirees, and, they know that brings money in. They want to, they're dedicated to families coming down here. So in the capacity of moving to Colombia is still a great deal. If we get to the point we talk about real estate, talk about, traveling around Medellin, traveling around Colombia, understanding the legal things that you need to navigate while you're here, because you got to remember you're going to be in the 1 in 5%, and with that does come some responsibilities. So, okay, Dre, I think that's it for now. We can kind of go into the next deal, and I can answer the questions. T-Mac, can answer the questions as we see relative.
All right, cool, man. That's a great intro. Great intro. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let me let my brother down right here.
Oh yeah, I meant to say, if y'all want to know what I do in my spare time, so you see all the music stuff, right? So I haven't played in a while, so I've been practicing my trumpet and everything.
There you go.
So I don't get in trouble, but I will tell you this: I do get a lot of attention because people are like, "Hey, is that you playing?" That. Oh yeah, it's real interesting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what's up, Will. And that's what I always say: bring your hobbies, bring your routines with you. We got another brother that's popped up who's looking to relocate to Colombia. Shout out to my brother Pharrell Ishmael in the building. Glad to see that. How's your night going?
My night's going pretty well. I'm just wishing I'm in y'all shoes right now with all them fine Latinas and women folk.
Either way,
like that, what y'all doing, and y'all rocking to the New Jack type of things and everything. I wish I was like that.
Yes, sir.
Can you actually hear him?
Can you hear me?
Say that again, T-Mac.
I was like, can you hear? I don't hear Farrell talking.
Oh, can y'all?
Do you hear him?
Can
Will?
y'all hear me now?
I can hear him.
You can? Okay, it must be me then.
Can you hear him, Will?
Drop back.
Yeah, I hear him loud and clear.
Yeah.
I can't hear Will now. I can hear you. I think I might have to drop out and come back. That's what it happens sometimes.
Okay, T-Mac. I'm going to wait until you come back because the first segment of the video and the first segment I want to talk about while we have everybody here is the veterans. The veterans. So as you were saying, Ishmael, you said you look forward to that time period.
Yeah, I look forward because right now I'm heading back towards college so I can take something with me over to Colombia. Like take a career path, and also like I'm looking for a minor to improve my hobby in art, so I can basically do that and sell some artistic features. Like I think I shared some of my artistic craft with you before, man. Have I shared that?
Yes, you have.
Yeah, because the deal is that I'm looking towards basically setting up businesses and helping out over there. And like Colombia, I hear Medellin is a beautiful place. It's like if I could, I would go to college over there. Because my father, he has like veteran benefits. He can like right now I'm about to save up on all the money I'm getting in right now. I'm about to get a disability income. I'm getting the financial aid from college, and I'm about to get the Chapter 35 stipend. And I'm about to save up all that just so I can get to Colombia. That would be over $10,000 by like 6 months. So once I save that up, I can basically buy a house over there. And I hear how like Colombia is like the college town. It's like the beautiful formal city. I mean, I'm talking about Medellin. My bad. I meant Medellin. My bad. Like Medellin is a beautiful formal city where everybody wants to go to. And I look to like buy and settle down there and basically have a wonderful time and just chill out there, because now I see how this country is falling apart. Got gas over here that's almost $5. Got groceries over here that you're willing to cut in half in order to buy. Got all these crazy things over here. Like it's really getting stressful out here. You really it's really like it's really disgusting at the point of where you're willing to swim all the way over to another form of land. So that's basically what I'm saying.
Okay. Some of the things that you discussed, I kind of took notes: cost of living, career path, home ownership. These gentlemen are going to be able to answer some of your questions as we come down to that. Shout out to Bronx being in the building. Yes, sir. We're talking about Medellin tonight. Let's get started with the video portion. First part is going to be about the veterans. Shout out to all you vets out there. Medellin has quite a few veterans that are out there right now. So let's get ready to get started. Let me add the videos to the stage.
The backflip pad. Some people might think it's kind of weird. Grown men live together, but it's way better than living with my ex-wife.
Made an excellent point. He made an excellent point. It is better to live with a roommate in Medellin and own a place or have a great place that you've rented than to, let me remove this. I hope I do this correct, T-Mac. Okay, I'm removing this one. And no, wait a minute. Did I do it right, T-Mac? I think I did it backwards, T-Mac. I'm just going to take them both down, and then you can come back up. My bad. So, T, come back up when you get a chance. So I'm going to bring this back, Will. This is the brother roommate. These brothers, ex-military brothers, real cool, like true brothers. And they used to be in DR. And they did a lot of content while they were in DR. Shout out to Show Enough in the building. And since they left DR, they actually moved to Medellin. And both of them, like brothers, have a really nice spot. And I love what he just said. It is better to live with my roommate and my partner, my friend, my ex-military brother, he said, than to live with my ex-wife. And so after these guys get done, I want to hear what you guys have to say of the benefits of being in Medellin as somebody that is ex-military. So let's continue on with them.
Let me give you a house tour of how 2 combat veterans are living abroad.
Welcome back to the past. Some people might think it's kind of weird. 2 grown men live together, but it's way better than living with my ex-wife. And we got the black guy white thing going on, so he helps me a lot with my slang and street cred, and I help him with his credit score. Fridge full of beer, got 2 sinks. You know you made it when you got 2 sinks. We got an awesome view of Medellin. Big screen TV, and you know you get. This is the bottom floor. Obviously, we live in a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom penthouse. This is my room, my closet with all the clothes that I own.
I have an amazing credit score. He's unathletic and he can't dance. But after 4 combat deployments, 20 years of service, 4 horrible divorces, I finally found paradise in Medellin. Everything I own is in this closet.
And this is our private roof terrace, fire pit.
Come on now. That's nice.
Gorgeous view, so a chillin' grill, but wait until you see it at night.
Veterans are living their best lives abroad, from the beaches of the Dominican Republic to the mountains of Medellin. This Saturday, pull up at El Party's Grill, a veteran-owned restaurant. We're going to network and vibe and just live our good life.
Today, I'm registering for healthcare here in Medellin, Colombia. Welcome, Bonte and Medellin. This is a brand new facility exclusively for American veterans. To get registered, you need to show up, bring your passport, C214, and an individual breakdown of your service-connected conditions. Even if you're just visiting, you can use their services. They have an English-speaking staff, free coffee shop, and healthcare services for American veterans. A lot of vets know that you can get healthcare outside the United States of America at places like Javante. That's upside down. Today, I got registered. Monday, I'm going to see the doctor, psychologist, the physical therapist, maybe get a massage. You know, the kind of 5-star healthcare that American veterans deserve. I'll let you know how it goes. Let me break it down for you why 1,000 American veterans choose to live right here in Medellin, Colombia. And no, you filthy animals, the main reason is not what you're thinking.
A lot of guys don't
Financial help.
Oh man, it looks like I'm freezing a little bit over on the Wi-Fi. My bad, gentlemen. A lot of guys don't know that there are over 1,000. Man, that looks bad. The Wi-Fi looking bad for no reason. A lot of guys don't realize that there are over 1,000 veterans that are in Medellin, Colombia right now, even as we speak.
Health is mental health, and you might not know this, brand new information, but life outside the United States can be cheaper than life inside the United States, and a lot of veterans are on a fixed income. I got a hot tub, so I'm doing okay. To qualify for the Colombian retirement visa as a veteran, only need to prove income of $1,000 a month. We have veteran healthcare centers here with Colombian medical staff, with no wait times, where they treat you with dignity and respect and listen to you. It sounds, doesn't it? This place has gone from one of the most chaotic, violent, and dangerous cities to one of the most innovative, beautiful, and artistic in the whole world. It proves that healing is possible. It's possible, baby. That's why I love it here. The resilience, the transformation. It's inspiring. People always ask me
right there, and we're just gonna go with the veterans. I mean, with you gentlemen right now. So let's move this video out of the way and let's bring us back up on the screen. All right. So let's piggyback off of some of the things that our brother was saying. And I know T-Mac, you know him quite well. And I know that he was living in DR, him and his roommate fellow veteran were living in DR for a while, and then they made their way to Medellin, Colombia. Do you know what the reason probably was why they decided to come to Medellin?
I don't know the exact reason, except I believe they just wanted, to branch outside of the Dominican Republic, and to spread their message. They're all about bringing veterans together and adding value to the entire global community. And
True.
since the DR is it's not too far from Colombia, they came here. And yes, I met John he's a great dude. He's a great guy. We set up. I met him in person in El Poblado for lunch. When he was, he put out the message through another YouTuber, and the other YouTuber, which he's a good gentleman also. He believes in us working together as black men to do something positive. John's not black, but still he's a brother to me.
Right.
So anyway, he was like, "Why don't you reach out to T-Mac? He's in Medellin." So he reached out to me. We met up for lunch, and I saw that he was doing some activities in Medellin, such as this toy drive. And I was like, "I live here, man. I need to be involved in this." So I was like, let me get involved in this. And then Will got involved too. And so basically, he used 4 figures of his own money in US dollars to basically buy toys for an entire orphanage. And we kind of piggybacked. I wanted to see what I could provide, and they needed shoes for each child. And then I mentioned it to Will, and Will was like, "Let's just split it, man. Let's just go down the middle." And so we did. We provided a pair of shoes to each of the orphans. It was about 35 pair. And my girlfriend, she went and bought them, and she put their name of each child. And we, bought for the correct size and everything. And she put the name of each child on each shoe.
That's
and
cool.
And then we were like, let's go, let's do something else, beyond, this. And we were working with a group. I think I mentioned to you about Andrew Macia.
Yeah,
He has
you did.
a Medellin Buzz. That's his YouTube channel. He's a great gentleman. I joined his masterclass years ago. And to make a long story short, he was basically deported from the U.S. He lived in Orange County, close to where my house is. But he started a nonprofit group called Help Colombia. So they were at, El Parche Grill, which he mentioned in his video. And it's in Parque Lleras, but, it was there during the day. He happens to have a restaurant there. And me and Will met up there, and we were like, let's get involved with this next orphanage that they're doing, which happens to be an all-girls orphanage. And we were able to raise about $3,000 to buy, a worth of food products and chairs, backpacks, and the shoes actually went to the orphanage. And also, what am I missing, Will? We're missing something else. But basically, this orphanage, they didn't have any type of proteins.
We bought all the food for them. So we basically bought enough food to last them 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, it was quite a bit of food. And to show you what type of guy John is, he wasn't, he was busy with a lot of other things. But we had a private group where we had other veterans, end up joining, and we just split the cost. So we would just divide up the cost of whatever was going on. And he kicked in quite a bit of his own money, to make up for the the shortfall. What I would just go out and just buy the stuff, and everybody would we'll just share the costs, and it was very successful. In fact, it was very touching to actually go to the orphanage and see the lives that it changed. And you hear all the negative stuff. That's what gets all the publicity. That's what gets me about you hear about Medellin. They don't hear about the fact that even though foreign investment in other parts of Colombia have gone down, or it's actually increased in Medellin because of they tend to focus locally on trying to grow Antioquia and also the city. So, and whenever they commit to doing something like the metro and everything, they always carry through with it. That's what I say about Medellin. And what we wanted to do, since we live here and we committed to the area, we wanted to do something positive. So what if it doesn't get like all this YouTube streams as like, all this pay for play and all that? What we wanted to do is show that there's people here that, who wanted to actually to give back and do something good for the community. So right now we're in the process of registering a nonprofit called Veterans Global Children's Foundation. So, and we're trying to do it correctly. We're not asking for any type of outside donations or anything like that until we go through the proper, the international and also local registrations to make sure that everything is compliant and everything. We want to make sure, and until then, we've just been sharing the cost. And since it's taken quite a while because everything is very manual here and bureaucratic in Medellin, the guys have been on my case. Let's just get together and we'll just contribute again and just start helping another orphanage. So that's the kind of like I guess you could say the camaraderie, the brotherhood that we have. Not only just here in Medellin, but you have also some of our military brothers in DR who want to get involved. And once they hear about the good things that we're doing, we'll have other veterans asked to join, other people who want to be involved. So Will's on the board of directors. And we plan on getting this thing going and supporting, start off with a few orphanages that we can commit to on a regular basis. And then we'll go from there.
Oh, man, that sounds great, man. That reminds me when an orphanage is when Taylor Make Dreams and a lot of those guys in DR used to work with orphanages for 5-6 years, man. So that's great to hear that you guys are working with the orphanages. And that for some of you guys that don't know John, the white guy that we were just looking at, if you've ever been on his Instagram, this guy is like, he works as hard outside of the military for veterans as hard as he had worked in the military as a veteran. I mean, his resume is long. He's not just when you see him on YouTube or when you see him on Instagram or TikTok, you just think he's just another veteran talking. But when you go to his Instagram and follow this dude's resume, you realize, okay, this is not just another veteran that's just talking. Just same thing with Will, same thing with T-Mac. These are not just veterans that are talking. Will, I got a question for you. And then I have a question for Ishmael. When it comes to Medellin and some of those veteran benefits that are out there, have you seen any, or have you heard of any of the veterans taking advantage of some of those benefits that are there in Medellin now?
Yes, most of the word spreads by mouth. And just to piggyback off what John was saying, so when you come to Medellin, depending on if you did 1 or 2 tours in the military, and say you didn't retire, but you have a DD-14, so he is correct. You can go to Javante, you can get your medicines. So if you are like a digital nomad and you want to live here, so you can get your veteran benefits by going to Javante. Also, if you are a military retiree, you have the chance of also utilizing TRICARE while you're here. You could also use Javante. So I've used my TRICARE. I've actually used my Blue Cross Blue Shield International because I haven't even used the Colombian insurance. I just used the actual benefits that I already have because they work better. It's just a lot more quicker than the actual insurance that you get that the Colombians say you have to have. So there's definitely some advantages to, you don't have to go through too many pre-approvals. Far as if it's your private insurance, even if it's federal, you have to go through pre-approval. But if you have TRICARE, you don't have to go through pre-approval. You got 1 or 2 ways. You could actually pay for it out of pocket and they would, reimburse you your money back, or you can go through the TRICARE, because normally if you're retired, you're going to have TRICARE for life. And, that's what I have. And so basically, if I need to go to the doctor, I can actually go through my caseworker, and they will actually recommend. They have a network of also Colombian doctors that are here, so that helps you out. They even have the hospitals. It just makes the process go a lot more smoother. But also you can use your GI Bill when you're down here as well. T-Mac and I were talking about this the other day, like, yeah, we can't use ours because we pretty much depleted ours for, college,
right.
Like I said, they paid for my master's. And once you become 100% disabled, I mean, they pretty much wipe all your school debt free. So when you come down here, you can use that to even go to a Colombian school. So that, and I mean, I forget how much it is, but I think it's E5 pay for so which is pretty good. You have to check it. I hadn't looked at that in a while, but the thing is, I just know that the VA does a lot to help you. Now, the thing about Javante, you have to understand, you're not going to get the same services that you get from the VA in the United States because you're here under the Foreign Military Program. So it's something totally different. So that's the reason why you have to sign up for it. So basically, when you're under the Foreign Military Program, what's the difference between being in the States 100% and being 100% here? They're only going to service you for your service-connected disabilities. That's it. That's what they do here. And if it's attributed to your service-connected, then yes, they will treat you for it. But most people get treated at Javante. Also, there's doctors here. There is no problem with medical. Okay, once you get, you talk to your primary care once you get set up, and then you can say, hey, I want an outside doctor, because they can, move things quicker. All these doctors here have a network. They all know each other. So, I mean, they have a dentist also within Javante. They have rehabilitation in Javante. I mean, you get served with coffee, beverages. I mean, fruits, snacks, whatever they have that day. The staff is very friendly. Believe it or not, most of them are Venezuelan, very beautiful ladies, very nice, very knowledgeable. And I mean, being here as a veteran is God sent, because the way you get treated, it will make you kind of question some of the things in the United States, because everything is so friendly here, and it's just like damn, man, these Colombians are like showing me more love than the United States.
Right.
So we'll probably get to why I moved to Medellin, why T-Mac moved to Medellin, and the benefits of being here. But what Dre said is something that I think everybody needs to understand. When you move here, okay, you have to get into that mindset that you are not in the United States. Everything is going to change for you. I mean, you're going to have patience. You're going to have to understand the culture. You're going to have to, you don't think like what you say in American when you live down here. This is why most Americans have a hard time, or they get caught up. And so, because they don't adapt. And that's one of the things that the military teaches you. It teaches you to adapt. It doesn't teach you to, be separate and stand out. You can dress nice in Medellin and you don't need name clothes to, all you have to do is just look good, and you're in there. It's all about how you carry yourself. Learn basic Spanish. You don't even have to be fluent, just basic Spanish. But understanding how to move, we'll get into that. We'll probably talk about a little bit of the dating, how that is as well. So pretty much any questions anybody has, just put it in the if you can, put it in the super chat, and so we can answer the questions as they come, first serve. And I wouldn't say I'm a SME because I've only lived here for 20 months, so I'm still learning. But I will tell you this, I'm a lot more advanced because I speak a little bit of Spanish, and on top of it, I'm pretty intimate with the Colombians. So they don't even look, when you live here, that's another thing. When you live here, you get accepted by the Colombians, they don't even look at you as an extranjero, as they would say. They just look at you like, because you're adapted to their ways, because that's what they like. It's no different than being in the United States. They want you to adapt to their way. I think Dre kind of dropped out a little bit there. T, you want to add anything to that?
I forgot to put myself in the box. My bad. I'm looking, okay, Ishmael and T. Go ahead, T-Mac.
T, can you hear us?
I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. I lost audio again for some reason.
Oh no, you good? No, I was. You have anything to
I
add
might
to
have
that?
to come back and I have to go out and come back in. I lost the audio.
Okay.
But living here, and until T-Mac comes back, living here as a veteran is really easy. Like I said, I will say it like this. Okay, just on your veteran benefits alone, say if you're 100% living here, right? Even if you're at 50% as a veteran, you're still going to live a decent life. You're going to unfortunately, and I'm going to be realistic about it, right? Depending on what your lifestyle is like and where you want to live, I can tell you right now the two most expensive places to live in Medellin is El Poblado and Laureles. Both of those are very, very expensive. It's not cheap like it was 4 years ago. Hey, T, you can go ahead and add to that.
Okay. Yes, I would say also Envigado was up there because Envigado is mostly where the the upper class and upper middle class Colombians live. So that could be pretty pricey and very nice too. So yes, you'll find more of the foreigners, the expats in El Poblado and Laureles. I live in Laureles, Conquistadores area because it's flat, and I have bad limbs from my military service. So I don't know if there was a question that we were answering that I had skipped over, but with it what were we? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because I came in.
I was talking basically about the medical benefits that you get, and while you're here, and I was like, okay, if you have anything else to add to that, because I was explaining about the TRICARE and how the more insurance you have, the better you are. But the thing is, you just have to realize that when you come to Colombia and you get that visa, there's no way around. There is no workaround.
Right.
You have to get their insurance. That's the Colombian thing. You have to get their insurance.
I do have a couple of recommendations. I would say for anybody who's a veteran, enroll in a foreign medical program now. If you have any type of rating, just even if you have 0%. So even though if you have 0%, that's still a rating, even if you don't get paid for it. So they will treat you at these clinics, even if you're 0%. Let's say you can have, theoretically, you can have like 10 different injuries that are 0%, and they'll treat you at the Juvante clinic because you're still rated. That just means that they acknowledge that you have an issue, but it's not to the point that they consider it severe enough to start, compensating you. Another thing that I would suggest for any traveler is to get an annual travel insurance plan that that covers, the medical, your burial repatriation, yes, your medical repatriation, if you have to get airlifted. So, and it's super cheap. So instead of just getting that month to month or trip by trip where they charge you like $25 or $35 or like $200 a month, you can get it for the year, even if you're like in your 50s or 60s, for like about $400 to something dollars to $500 for the entire year. And it'll cover up to, and that from the one I have, it covers my entire family in California. So even my ex-wife lives there, so she qualifies. My daughter. So all of us basically, we have up to like $500,000 of like medical transport. We have emergency dental or medical care, but it works all over the world, not just Colombia. So I just get that anyway. Now I have a pre-existing condition, so I wasn't able to get Sura. I passed all the physicals and everything, but since I have like an autoimmune issue, they would not approve me. So in the meantime, until I can find a private carrier, I self-insure. So whatever money I would put in that for like $150, $200 a month, I put it into like an investment. So it's affordable enough in Colombia that you can, for about 95% of anything that you run across, you can pay for it yourself. And in case of any type of I'm sorry.
Say that again, because a lot of guys and ladies do not realize what you said is 100% true. 95% of whatever medical dental, whatever it may be, you could pay out of pocket. And not to cut you off, I don't want you to forget your thought. I just shared a story just a few hours ago, a consultation. Met this Middle Eastern guy from the States. You probably heard me tell this story before, T-Mac. Met this Middle Eastern guy about 4 years ago at a coffee shop here in Cali. And we started hitting it off. He was from the States. And he said his son was on his way to pick him up and take him to the airport. I say, well, how'd you like your trip? He said, well, I had to have cancer surgery. And I was like, wow, you all right? He said, man, I'm fine. I'm great. And I said, you mind me asking a question? He said, no. I said, how much would your surgery have cost if we were in the States? He said, with my coverage of insurance in the States, I still had to come out of $22,000 in order to pay for my cancer. I said, well, how much did you pay here? He said, I paid out of pocket. I say, well, how much you pay? He said, man, including my surgery, including recuperation, they had me in another recuperation hotel. He said, I had a staff member from the hospital that was my aide to make sure that I was up to par, including my pain medications, everything, $1,200. He said, I paid $1,200 out of my pocket for cancer surgery. And so he said, but if I was in the States with insurance, I would have still had to pay $22,000 just for the surgery, not for the medical, not for the recuperation, not for my hospital time. So when you said that it's out of pocket, that a person will be able to pay for about 95% of their medical needs in Colombia, if you don't get the SUR insurance, this is absolutely correct. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
So this is a way until I can, of course, some of the, we're resource in Cali, with Pilar, I was going to, consult with her about, see if there's a plan that can cover me, even if it is for additional costs for private. But you're also allowed to participate in, if you have certain visas. Not all visas will work this way. And when I say certain visas, every M visa is not the same. Like M retirement visa is different from M parent visa or M marriage visa. So certain visas like the M marriage or the M parent visa allows you to use EPS. So I just get that anyway because it's like $30 or $35 a month, right? So why not get it? And that covers also, my daughter here in Colombia. And then I have the travel insurance. To me, you can, if it's affordable, like that travel insurance, might as well for $480 a year, just get it. Because if I travel to Curacao or to any other country, it's going to cover me, not just in Colombia. And so I got that, the EPS. And then I assumed that I'll pay maybe, let's say $200 for private. So I'll just make sure I have at least $200, go into some kind of investment every month. And if I ever need to get it for like any type of dental, orthodontics or something like that, I can pull from there. So that way, it's not. And I'm gonna give you an example. My mom, she got a quote in Texas for 4 implants. It was $34,000, $38,000. So it was like, Mom, let me have my assistant. I have a couple assistants here, and I had her get a quote from the orthodontist here, and they can do they say 4 teeth, they'll do it for $4,000 or whatever. It was about 38 or 35 to 4,000. So I flew my mom down here, business class from Texas. We just paid out of pocket. I put on my credit card or whatever. My mom said she got such great service. She said she got better treatment here, getting the orthodontic surgery done on those teeth. And she was very happy with the results and only like $4K out of pocket. Didn't have to worry about, because in the US, it doesn't go that high. You're gonna have a limited of how much they're gonna pay anyway. You're gonna have out of pocket deductible for a lot of those things. So a lot of times it just makes sense, just to pay out of pocket. And that's 1/8 the cost. So my mom could have paid $34K, or she paid $4K. Stay with me.
Go ahead, T-Mac. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Drake.
I was about to say, I love the fact that our families are able to glean off of us living in these other countries. They may not have understood our initial moves, but a lot of our families are gleaming, whether it be my uncle, Ghostface. I've met so many guys down here that they brought their moms down here for different surgeries, or they were having surgery and mom wanted to come down and support them. So it's just so amazing to sit back and see how we thought that this was just going to impact us, like me, Will, you, Ishmael in the future. We kind of think that our travels to these different countries, shout out to Ronin travelers out there, and we think our travels will just impact us for the most part, not realizing you never know down the line how our moves can help our families.
And another thing I like to share is that just recently, I have to go see a pain management doctor at least once a month. So I have one in the United States, and he knows I live in Colombia. So what they'll do is they'll send my records down here. I'll share it with my pain management doctor here in Colombia. You know, they'll work together, and you know how much MRIs cost, right? You know, out of pocket. So the doctor here, I said I need to get an MRI because I'm gonna be going back to the US and I don't want to pay the cost of MRI there, so I might as well get it done here. And I was able to go online, get an appointment for a specialist. You know, I forgot what it was. It might have been like $50 or whatever, $35. But it took me an hour and a half to get the appointment. And so an hour and a half later, I explained to him, I showed him my records. He set up, basically gave me a prescription to have an MRI. He told me, he said, let me write it in this way, so that way they'll do your entire spine, since I have, you know, spinal damage, for $130. Entire spine, from like all the way down to the base of your neck, all the way down to your tailbone. So they did all that for $130, you know, using the, you know, high quality, you know, what's it called? You know, so many Teslas or whatever. So a high quality resolution. Right. And I was able to get those records, send it to my US doctor. So when I went back to the US, he was able to know what type of treatment I have. Instead of spending over whatever $1,500, I spent like $130 and had it done here in Colombia, and, you know, out of pocket. And the doctor was sensitive enough. Instead of, you know, you have your cervical, you have your thoracic, and you have your lumbar and all that. So instead of like, you know, me getting charged, you know, 3 times, the Colombian doctor was like, I'll just write it in this way. So they'll count it as just one scan, even though it's going to do from the base of your neck to your tailbone. So, you know, I'm very happy with the medical treatment and the attention, because a doctor here, they don't have to worry about like all this extra malpractice insurance that they have in the US, and they actually try to work to treat the cause. And a lot of those doctors are getting paid by the pharmaceutical companies in the US. I'm not saying that every doctor is compromised or whatever, because there are some good doctors out there. But, you know, they'll get incentives from, you know, like HMOs and things that not to refer you to specialists and things of that nature. But anyway, in Colombia, a doctor here might be making like $25 an hour. You see what I'm saying? So they're not in it for the money. Yes, you know, $25 an hour might be, you know, good money down here in Colombia, but they'll sit down and they'll listen to you, and they'll, you know, spend time, and they'll try to give you the treatment that's going to help you get better, and not try to just, you know, keep, you know, give you, you know, these expensive drugs because they're getting some type of incentives from the drug company. Yeah. So, you know, so I'm very happy with the treatment I've gotten. And the majority of the time, I've been able to pay out of pocket. I've been able to get, I think I broke a tooth, and I was in San Andres. So I went and got it, like it got it filled or whatever for like $25 on like an emergency visit. And also at another occasion, and I had one filling that came out, and they did it without charging me extra, you know, at another dentist. And on I think there was one more occasion I'm trying to think about that had to do with dental. But anyway, I also went to an ER. I forgot where it was at, but it wasn't in Medellin. And to go see the ER, you know how much an ER would cost in the US? It might cost $1,000, right? When you walk in the door to get seen about anything. So it was $25 for me to get seen by the doctor, get prescribed or whatever, get treated. $25. That was my emergency room, out of pocket. You know, I just wanted to, you know, add that in. So, you know, don't think about going to the doctor is going to cause you to be able to take a financial hardship. Yes, it definitely works that way in the United States, but when you're abroad, it is not just Colombia. Colombia, I'm only speaking about Medellin, but I was in Africa. I went to the like urgent care and got treated for like $8 per the visit, and the doctor gave me his personal cell number so I can get in contact with him anytime I need it.
Wow.
So don't sleep on the medical treatment that you can get abroad, whether you're in Colombia or any other country.
Oh man, if more people knew that, it's kind of funny and it's kind of sad that a lot more people don't talk about that side of Medellin. Hey Ishmael, are you still there?
Oh yeah, brother. And
Okay.
T-Mac, I thank you for saying that, because like I actually would love to find out more about Africa's benefits and health wise. I have seizures. Like I've been having seizures since I was like 11 years old. So I thank you for saying that, because I could use a doctor who give me his cell number at certain times when I'm on my own and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me hit these super chats real quick. Shout out to my man Jay being in the building. Appreciate you. Let me make sure this pops up on the screen. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi the last 2 days. Goodness gracious. There we go. Jay says, hey, Dre. He said, I'm in your city. Now that you're telling me now, Jay. He said, in your city from Medellin, playing 2 vinyl DJ sets. Goodness gracious. Hey, Jay, you gotta let me know where you at, man. I might have to shoot over there tomorrow night. DJ says tonight and tomorrow. And plus, here in Colombia, it is holiday. This Friday was a holiday today, and payday. So they got a holiday and payday. Yeah. So I might have to hit me up with the location. Hit me up on WhatsApp. Let me know what location you're at, and I'll probably meet you over there mañana, tomorrow night. He said Colombia has been good to, and it has, man, in regards to you and your business of DJing. You always are out there and just showing a positive side of Colombia when it comes to the nightlife, not the wild side, not the problematic side of nightlife, but you've always shown a positive side. Shout out to you, Jay. And shout out to my brother, David Dice of the Dice family. Shout out to my brother. He says, T-Mac, for all of us that want some of this knowledge that Dice shareth by way of consultation, he said, could you drop your email address into the chat? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I like that Will gave a shout out to our Life with David. That's my dude. That's my dude, Dave. Dave came out down here to Cali a couple times and hung out with your boy. So shout out to Will for that one. We were talking earlier, Ishmael, about your budget when it comes to coming to Colombia. And you said that your budget right around now could end up dancing around 10,000, correct?
Yeah, about 10,000 within 6 months if I stay strict on saving it. Like strictly saving it.
No. When you say budget, are you talking? What are you talking about for as monthly? Is that monthly or is that just for moving purposes?
It's monthly, because like what it is that I'm gonna get 5,000 from my college, and I get from my disability I get over 1,500, and from my father's VA benefits I would get a college chapter. You all heard the chapter 35, right?
Yes.
I get that as $1,005, over $1,500, and saving it up, I'll try to use that for 10,000. That's what
So your father was a veteran. So your father was a veteran, and you wasn't, right?
No, I wasn't. I tried to get in, but I couldn't get in.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm about to elaborate on that. Because the thing is, right? So for you, Operation Desert Storm, or any of you gentlemen whose fathers served in Vietnam, you can get a stipend if you have an ailment that could be transmitted, or you say been hereditary towards you basically it was passed down to you from your father. Okay, so the VA will actually give you a check every month. That's what he's talking about. So when you hear him say that, that's the reason why I asked him, are you a veteran? Because there's a difference. Because he gets a special stipend just for that purpose. And that's permanent for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that, brother. Thank you.
And that's why I brought back up Ishmael's budget, because I wanted Will to address that, because we all know that now if it's just one time $10,000 you saved up lump sum to relocate to Colombia, that probably lasts you maybe that first, it depends on where you are, first 9 months, if that.
Yeah. I wanted to make that clear. So he can pretty much live anywhere in Medellin. He's basically in the 1%. So if you're in like 5,000 to 4,000 a month, you're in the 5%. But 10,000 a month, you're in the. I would say 6,500 and up. That I would say I saw that comment. No, 6,500 and up. You can pretty much live anywhere in Medellin that you want. That's pretty much the 1%. Like I said, there's places in El Poblado that are going for 2,000. So let me explain something to you guys. If you ever look at things on TV, if you look at, things on the internet, far as YouTube, when you look at Colombia as a whole, Cali, Cartagena, Medellin, understand that when we came here back in when I came here back in 2021, things were, pretty cheap. When T-Mac came here, when Dre came here, it was really cheap. So I hear a lot of people, they're playing like, oh, those prices, I wouldn't pay that. That's just, I could die this in the States. I'm like, okay, first and foremost, all right, it's expensive in the United States and it's still a fraction of the cost here.
True.
The thing that's going on in all of Colombia, but in some places faster than the others, is regentrification. It happens all over the world. And because of that, product and demand drive up the cost. So even though you might hear people say, oh, it's the Colombians doing this, oh, it's the Colombians doing it. Yeah, it is Colombians doing that because their foreigners are asking for it. People wouldn't sell this stuff if foreigners would have never paid it. Correct. Because they wanted a demand. People play for exclusivity here. Regardless, there's places here. So, I heard somebody talk about, oh, I wouldn't pay $647,000 for an apartment in Medellin. But I'm like, okay, so have you been to Miami? Have you been to Chicago, New York? You can't even get into a nice apartment as equivalent to how it looks in Medellin for $600,000. You can't even get into that in the United States for under 1.5, if not more. So, the thing is, it's just that times are getting very, difficult for everybody. So even when you talk about gas, right? So you're talking about the gas in the United States being $4-something. So that's basically what you're paying here if you have a car. The minimum that you pay is about what I'm paying here in Medellin for the regular gas is about $4.28. If I want the premium, because I only put premium in my car, then it's $6.36. So You're actually paying more money here, but understand something. These cars are I've actually seen more newer cars here than I have in the United States. It's like, wow. Tesla's down here now. There's a lot of, people that have work cars. You'll see a lot of that. But for the most part, there are a lot of, new cars down here. And the insurance is triple to quadruple what you would pay in the United States. And there's levels to it. It's not just, full coverage is not the same. It's totally different. There are levels to the full coverage down here. There is SOAT. There's other things. There's Pico Block. Yes. There's so much that you have to learn. I've consulted with Dre, and literally because I did this 2 years ago before I moved here, I literally forgot about the Pica Placa because he told me about it, but I forgot about it. So the thing is make sure that you talk to T-Mac, talk to Dre, talk to myself. You can hit us up, you can drop me an email or something like that, and I'll make sure I put that in. T-Mac will make sure he put his email in. And if you're serious and if it comes to real estate, I can put you in that direction of things you got to do. Also, even if you plan on buying a car, what you're going to have to do. Both T-Mac and I have our cedula and our driver's license, and so does Dre.
True.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
brother.
Oh, yeah, we got the motorcycle, too. We got it all.
So if going back to where T-Mac and Will started off, and so I took some notes of 7 things that I want to discuss tonight with you guys that T-Mac kind of like laid a foundation for. The first thing that T-Mac said, and this is for you, Ishmael, if it were us, and correct me in regards to what you guys would say with living in Medellin, and this goes for all of us who are relocating to other countries. First step is online, offline networking. Online, offline networking. Online. If I was Ishmael, I would be a part of the Medellin Facebook groups, all of them that I could find that were positive ones. I would be a part of expat groups moving to Colombia. I would be a part of those groups. That's one of the first thing that I would do, because T-Mac already said he started his journey by communicating with others. Secondly, I would start reaching out to some of these brothers offline. So offline, I'm talking to people that are, well, let's go like this. Online, I'm on positive WhatsApp groups. I'll be in positive WhatsApp groups, positive Instagram groups that have to do with where I'm headed to, positive Facebook groups. I don't care if it's language exchange in any country. I don't care where it is, but you have to network if you're going to have a successful transition to another country. Before I let you guys speak, I'm going to go to the offline network. Now, the offline network may be somebody positive that you meet down here on a trip, or offline networks are also individuals that are on this channel, and you're like, hey, I see T-Mac all the time. Let me get his email address so I can reach out to him. Let me get Will address. Don't wait until you guys are thinking about, I'll be moving in 2 months. You don't want to do that. The military has taught a lot of you guys, you don't wait until you're about to go to war to learn how to clean a gun. So just like that same mindset, you wait till the last minute. I don't care if you guys are moving in 5 months, 15 months, or 15 years. Make sure that you start the process now of joining online networking. And all the guys that you see, I don't care if it's Jay Clyde in here. I don't care if you want to go to the Philippines in 10 years. There is nowhere in the world you should not have Ronin Travelers information. You should, if you're going to Bogota, or going to Barranquilla, or if you're going to Cartagena, you guys should have Kobe's, official Kobe's information. These are all offline connections that you have to have. I'm not saying that you should have or maybe you should have. I'm saying that you have to have these to make your transition a lot smoother. So if I was Ishmael, I would start my first part of my journey is, yes, saving my money. But the other part of your journey that's just as important is the networking. So I want to hear what T-Mac has to say and Will has to say in regards to that.
I would say networking is extremely important. And I'm going to give everyone, if you're interested in Medellin, there is a link that connects you to some private WhatsApp groups that are based upon your social interests. So it could be a games group, it could be a salsa dancing group, it could be a parents group. So I put it in the chat. I just can't tell if it's been filtered out. It's mdecommunity.com. So only like so yes, just put .com on that, mdecommunity.com. If you were to put that into any web browser, is going to come up with a whole bunch of links to social groups. But when you click on the link, it's actually going to connect you to a private WhatsApp group for that social interest. So, it's so many different topics. And just pick the one. And that's a way for you to get, the build, I would say, a bigger social group, because when you come here, you can't just like isolate yourself. And so we have, I would say we have a trusted network, and then we have an overall like kind of social network. So the trusted network, you have somebody like Dre, and we have like a group of like, it might be only like 4 or 5 of us that we're pretty tight. We'll chat every day, and if either one of us has an issue, they can, one of us, probably be online, get the message, and they can come help them out. And so if they're in Cali or in Medellin, and so we had one brother, he ran into issues, so he hit me up, and I was able to come and help him out. So it's always best to have a tight network, that's where you don't have any type of pookies or ray-rays, but people that have the same vision, same goals, and not about the BS, who will basically look out for you just like you look out for them. And so with our vetted groups, that's the understanding that we have. It's no secret that Will's part of one of my in our vetted group. So I know that if I ran into a problem, I could I'll you can hit up Will or whatever, and he'll do what he can to help me, and vice versa. But we kind of keep it separate. We don't have other people just from all over the place that can they have that type of access on a daily basis, because we want to make sure you can't make yourself available to everybody. Just like you have standards with a woman, you got to have standards with your network too, because you're going to be judged by the people, by the company that you keep, and by the people that you hang around. And because if you have the wrong person in that group, they can bring you down, and if you have the right group, they can they can help lift you up when you run into those issues.
It's funny that you would say that. Hold your thought for a split second, Will. And the reason why I'm going to piggyback off of T-Mac, the group that I'm in, just one Cali group. That group has several groups, like he was just showing MED or MDE community.com. Make sure you guys that are going to Medellin take advantage of that. In our WhatsApp group, we have one that's just straight Cali, Colombia, but it has like 7 groups inside of it. One of the groups is Cali Play Sports, anything that has to do with sports in Cali, Cali Nutrition Network, Cali Men's Group, Cali Collaborators, Cali Culture, Cali Language Exchange, Cali Entrepreneur and Crypto Investors. That's all in one WhatsApp group, but when you click it, it breaks down into several WhatsApp groups. So the same thing T-Mac was saying that's available, we're saying that how important networking is. I've been here almost a decade, and I still take advantage of the networks. Go ahead, Will.
Before I get started, I think Farrell wants to make an announcement, because I think he has an appointment tomorrow. So go ahead and speak your piece, Farrell.
Oh, I just want to thank y'all brothers for sharing me a part of this video. And I want to show my appreciation to you guys, because I got an appointment tomorrow, because I got to get rid of this chubbiness. But once again, I show respect to brothers like y'all, because y'all give me inspiration to find better, basically to find a better place in this world, because that's why I'm inspired by Passport Bros and by other people like them. Because like right now, people don't see this country as falling, and they try not to do better themselves to do better. So I want to thank you guys for giving me all the information y'all get. And y'all have a blessed night, all right?
All right, brother.
Blessed night, brother.
Glad you came up.
Okay, so to piggyback off Dre and T-Mac, I'm the newbie here. And why do I say I'm the newbie? Because I've only been here for 20 months. And why is that significant? Well, I haven't had any incidents, but it's because of these two men right here and other gentlemen that, you know, when I moved here, they pretty much show you the ropes. They keep you out of trouble, tell you what to do. You cannot move to any country without a network. When you're in the military, you don't move to any country without a sponsor or network. Well, it's the same. No matter what, you know, faction it is, it's the same. So I don't know. Honestly, I thought Dre was going to get tired of me when I first, you know, started inquiring, but he was like cool because I guess I was asking those questions that, you know, those are questions he want. He's like, man, that's what I want people to do. I want people to ask me questions. He said, I can tell you ain't no BS. So he said, when you're interested in moving to a country, you know, you got to take heed to don't listen to what you see on the internet, because some of it I think is jaded. And why did I say that, right? Because we all know in marketing, sex sells. And that's the reason why that's what people see Colombia as, sex sales. Well, Colombia is a lot more than sex sales. I'm going to tell you guys, you know, when I hear a lot of you guys, you know, talk about, hey, where do I go to meet girls and da-da-da-da this, da-da-da-da that. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. If you actually move the right way, listen to what we're saying, you don't even have to do much. You know, you focus on your purpose. You go in those groups that will help you. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. Women fall into your hands. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, bruh, like I was telling Dre, I said, man, I mean, just living right, doing the right thing, being in the right group. And like, you know, I'm dating a, you know, dentist right now. You know, it's not serious. So, and, you know, yet, but still, you know, she's 34. And one of the things what Dre said, right? You know, because I was talking to her and we were talking about the age difference. I'm 58, she's 34. And she said, I don't see a problem in that. I mean, that's not an issue here. So get out of that American mindset, okay? America, one of the things, you know, about moving here, and I don't want to jump ahead too far, is that, you know, you are brainwashed in the United States. And we're going to elaborate on that more as we move into the chat.
It's kind of funny that you would bring that up, because that was number 2 that you guys mentioned. T-Mac mentioned earlier about when he met somebody, the age gap scenario. And it's more like in Colombia and in a lot of countries, they're not caring about age gap as much as they care about how one guy put it, the energy gap. Do our energy, do we kind of like jail as far as people? I find that whether it be among Colombians or whether it be Colombians with Colombian women with foreign men, it is very, very common to see age gap relationships. So it is in Southeast Asia, so it is in many countries. So if you come to Medellin and you're an older gentleman, over 40, over 50, don't assume that age gap relationships can't happen, because it is the norm here. Secondly, if you're a younger guy and you're like my brother Rob, he likes older women. So if you want to come to a country in a city like Medellin that has some of the most beautiful older women in the world, and you a younger dude that's looking for the older ladies, I'm telling you, they got some gorgeous women in Colombia, especially in Medellin. You will feast in Colombia when it comes to older women who are about their business. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry,
And
I agree with that most heart.
go ahead. Like, I want to hear what you had to say.
No, I would totally co-sign both what Dre and what Brother Will was saying. So people don't take into account that the family structure is so tight here in Colombia, and any woman they don't want to bring any type of trashy or good for nothing pookie dude up to, to their family to introduce them, to introduce their family. If they see a man who's established, who's polite, who's about something in their life. Look at me, I'm 50, I'll be 54 next month. I'm crippled. I got some issues. I walk with a cane, all this. And even though I'm not in the, the best of shape. I'm also not. I haven't let myself go either. But I'm saying all that. I've seen much younger dudes come here, and these guys are like go to the gym every day. They're cut up and everything like that. And they're asking me for advice. I'm just like, why are you asking me for advice? Well, it seems like you date a lot of quality women. I'm trying to figure out how you're doing that. It's because a lot of times in Colombia, the women, if you come in and you have something going on with your life, they'll gravitate towards you. And if you don't have that desperation, thirsty, like mindset, then you'll do much better. You need to think of in terms of abundance. If a person comes along, don't think that's like the only cute or beautiful woman you're going to meet or only quality woman. There's plenty more out there. And as long as you have something going on with your life, as long as you carry yourself well, as long as you have something going on, you're automatically going to attract that person, because you're not just attracting that person. That person is going to look at you and say, wow, my family is going to really be impressed by this, by this gentleman, because of the way he carries himself or the way his attitude is. And I can see that with, when my girlfriend introduced me to her family, they all wanted to meet me and everything like that. And to them is not only a good impression for her that, that she has, a boyfriend that she can be proud of, but the family, is kind of, they also have, they're proud of me being in their life as well. That's all I want to say.
True. It's kind of funny that you would say that, T-Mac, man. I went through the exact same scenario, and a lot of you guys can relate to this. When you meet the family and you're a good dude, the family gets a chance to see we taught her well. Because if she never brings anybody to the house, they don't get a chance to see if all the things that they've taught her over the years, did it stick? And so when they see that she's bringing a quality man, like a lot of you guys, to their homes, it lets dad and mom and aunties know, okay, what we taught her is stuck. She ain't just bringing some any old thing to the house. Okay, okay. All right, she listened to her. When she was 16, we thought she wasn't listening. When she was 21, we didn't think she was listening. Okay, now okay. All right. She all right with us. So now they're not only happy to meet you, but they're also proud of, like T-Mac was saying, her decision-making skills gel with the rest of the family. So they're like, okay, good. So now we can feel at ease or at peace because of her being able to choose between just a trashy man or a quality man like T-Mac and Will and the rest of you guys that are out there. And shout out to T-Mac and Will. My brother Johnny says you guys are some of the real ones out there. Yes, sir. What'd you say?
I wanted to say something real quick. One of the things that I admire about Colombian women, they do not bother you when you got hobbies. If you like to play golf, if you want to go do something, just like the girl, I just met her, the dentist, but she's like, oh yeah, my family got property, and if you want to fly your RC airplanes, you can take them out there. I'm like, dang, and she's showing me the stuff. They don't bother you, they don't sweat you, because the thing is, they let you be a man here. That's basically where I'm going with, because they gonna be with their girls sometimes. And the girl I'm dating with, she's 34. She ain't all about that club. She rather, she said she rather drink around her family or, with her man. That's what she told me. She wants to be safe the whole time. They don't, so when you meet somebody, just like what Dre said, you don't want any woman, whether it be in the United States or here, you don't want any woman that can be under you like 24/7. Just because you come to town, it's a difference if she took leave to be with you, but I'm going to just tell you right now, the average Colombian, no matter what their profession is, they can't. They just can't. Most of them, they take vacations around holidays. Most of them take their vacations around the Christmas time. So, Christmas to New Year's, because that's where they get most of their vacation.
And that Christmas bonus.
Yep.
Because they get one twice a year. They get the July bonus and they get the Christmas bonus.
The December bonus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Dre, I'm done.
No. You guys are hitting the nail right on the head. I'm going to see if I can pull this video up again. That it doesn't. Hopefully, it doesn't drag. If it drags, then we're just going to continue on with our topic as well.
Welcome to the bachelor pad. Some people
here.
And a lot of that are on a.
You know what that means? That means it doesn't go below 60 and above 80
places in the whole world. It proves clean as possible. That a comeback is possible, baby. That's why I love it here. The resilience, the transformation. It's inspiring.
People always ask me, why did you leave America for Colombia? First off,
the videos.
So I live in Medellin. It's called.
Is the video looking bad on you guys? And guys, let me know if that video is looking bad.
It's blurry. It's a little blurry.
Yeah, I'm not going to use the video tonight. We don't need to. We don't need to use the video tonight.
Yeah, I think T-Mac and I can pretty much answer any question that anybody has. If they have, dating questions, and I definitely want to give some pointers on that. And, because like I said, if you guys listen to what T-Mac and I say and Dre say, you won't have any problems. But I will tell you this thing. I'm going to give y'all this hint. One of the things that we learned being in the military, traveling overseas, you're in a new environment, you don't speak the language, don't drink. Do not drink when you're going out. If you're going to drink, you drink at home, you drink amongst your friends. You don't drink amongst the ladies because you don't know her, okay? When you go on dates in the daytime and get to know the person during the daytime, okay? And when I say the daytime, I'm talking about anywhere between 4 and 7 o'clock. You start getting into the late hours, then that's when things start to get a little bit iffy. The dynamics change considerably, but you always want to have the advantage. Also, you guys need to learn how to move. And when I say move, meaning that don't always take the same route, approach to anything. Don't always leave your Airbnb at the same time every day. Don't always go there at the same time every day. Make sure that your place has security, okay? That is important. Even the building that I live in has security. The one Dre lives in has security. The one T-Mac lives in has security, okay? You want that safety net. But let me tell you something. I can guarantee you, T-Mac, Dre, and myself, we don't bring random people. I'm not even talking about just women. We just don't bring random people to our place.
True.
If you ain't vetted, when Dre, his wife come to Medellin, they already know. They already told Dre, hey, I pick y'all up. I got you. If T-Mac needs something, he knows that. T-Mac, I gotta hit you up for something anyway, but because I might have to go back to the state's emergency, but we'll talk about that offline. Okay. But the thing is that when you guys listen to people, they tell you, hey, don't do this, don't do that. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can kind of alleviate a lot of problems. I will say it like this. Me and T-Mac was talking about this. They only need 12,000 pesos to travel anywhere around Medellin. Hear what I'm saying? 12,000 pesos. That's $3. Okay? That's $3. That's it. That's to come to see you. They can take the metro, then take a bus, and they can walk to wherever you're at. If you're paying for girls to come see you, then you already doing wrong. You already simping right off the bat. That means that girl don't like you. She already seen you as a cash bag. So listen to what I'm saying on that. And then I'm going to leave that alone because I know we're going to go a little bit further with that later.
Somebody had a question for you. My man Johnny says this to you, Will. He says, Will, can you recommend a Louis Vuitton fragrance that I can rock daily in the spring? Shout out to you, big brother Dre.
Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Dre, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Take your time. And the reason why that we're talking about this topic, we're gonna, as Will get ready with his cologne, we're gonna go to the next one that you mentioned Oh, that has been mentioned. Number 3 of 7. We're going to go through 7 tonight. Number 3 in Medellin, it's changing. Medellin, and I think one of you guys mentioned that Medellin is setting itself up for the retirees, for the family, for the investors, for the digital nomads. It's changing. And I think one of the things that's frustrating a lot of the guys that came to Medellin for the parties, they don't want to embrace that change. Like I said, like at work, they put y'all in some new cubicles. We to test something up because we got comfortable with the old cubicle. And so I want to hear before Will, in regards to the cologne, hear what you have to say in regards to some of the changes that you've noticed in the last 5 years of being in Medellin.
So I would say one of 3 major changes that are coming in. They were actually covered today. If you look at Medellin Buzz, that's my homie Andrew Messia, and he actually went over some of the near-term changes that are happening within the next 18 months in Medellin. One of it is a metro expansion, and they've seen how much it revitalizes the neighborhoods when you do a metro expansion. You know, even before the expansion happens, you know, property values increase, businesses come in anticipation. That's one. And so there's a estadio here in Laureles. So that's kind of like, you know, the old stadium where the, you know, national team plays, and it's kind of open air. And a lot of artists have kind of bypassed, you know, Laureles. So what they, you know, they've seen this, and they like the fact that, you know, tourism is like taking, you know, the top levels in terms of revenue for the economy. So what they're doing is that they're building a state-of-the-art facility here in, you know, enclosed, that's being designed by some kind of British UK company that's going to be attracting a lot of like talent to Medellin. So they have this state-of-the-art venue that's coming. And of course, the number 3 would be the beach, which is going to be happening by next year. So, you know, basically, you know, Fico, our, you know, the mayor, he's like, okay, you know, a lot of these major cities that attract, you know, world-class tourism, they have, you know, a beach. Well, since we don't have one, you know, God blesses one, we're going to make our own, which is going to be, is actually closer to the middle of the city, next to the regional airport. So they have 2 airports in Medellin. One's in Rio Negro, and they have one that's I think it's called Olaya. I forgot the entire name of it. But anyway, they usually take that you can use that one to go within Medellin, and they're going to build a nice, beautiful beach. And when I know people who haven't come to Colombia, you might think of it, they have the impression that you're struggling, that you're living, you know, rough or near a rainforest, but you'll see some of the nicest world-class venues that you've ever seen. Just like when Dre came, you know, we went to Super Bowling with Richie Mack.
True.
I mean, that place, you know, during the week is nice, but on the weekends they got entertainment. It's like the bowling alley, a gourmet restaurant. It's a lounge. It's like you know, got pool tables. You got this nice, and the ambiance of all these places are nice. They're just not just thrown together. There's a lot of, some of them have like a Greek mythology theme. Some of them have, you know, maybe a theme about Paris or a theme about, it's just like a really unique, that you could tell that they put a lot of thought into it. And one thing that Andrew Messia was mentioning is that when the people of when the Pisces actually make a commitment to do something, they carry through with it. So that beach is going to happen. That world-class venue is going to happen. And I believe there was one magazine or committee. I'm sorry.
Don't forget the statue of the bronze statue.
Oh
of
yes,
Christ.
oh yes, right near.
El Peñon.
You're totally right. Right, El Peñon, with that statue of Christ there. Also, I just didn't mention it because you had brought it up many times. But yes, the statue right there by Guatape, which is you know, it's about, might take you a couple hours to get there. Sometimes depends on the traffic or everything. But that's such a wonderful town to go to and stay overnight, spend a couple of days there. And it's just like, and of course, in the middle of these small towns in Colombia, there's always a church in the center. They have a square, and all around the square, you have like these little, restaurants, entertainment venues, or like small places. And it's just like, you don't have to worry about, feeling unsafe. You can be out there and 2 o'clock in the morning, people out there strolling along, just celebrating, just enjoying themselves, just enjoying the interactions with the family. You'll see the police right there interacting with the locals. And in the United States, the police are kind of standoffish, and you have to be kind of careful. But here in Colombia, one thing, people were bringing up about, oh, Colombia is so dangerous. Yes, I mean, it has its dangers, it has its challenges. A lot of those come when you put yourself at risk. But one thing I don't worry about as a black man is being a victim of police violence. While it's on my mind, and where I'm in, even Southern California, what if they come and break into my house by accident, and they say, okay, it was accident, and they can just wash their hands and walk away. But that's one stress I don't have to worry about in Colombia. And I saw another live stream where I won't name the streamer. It's not anything bad, but they were saying, well, these mass shootings, they don't hardly, or mass deletions, they don't hardly happen. They're very rare. Nope. I've been part of 2 of them. One of them was in my city at the school, school district my children come to. So I had to like jet off because they had a school, incident where some, a kid, went crazy and started, firing shots. And there was another one when I was I went to San Diego State University in my building, the engineering building. They were, I happened to come there a little bit later, but if I had come there 2 hours earlier, there was a graduate student who went crazy and deleted 3 professors right there in the building. So people can't, they can't tell me that you can just disregard, these safety issues in the U.S. and think that it's so superior than Colombia. Well, most of the cases, Colombia, when you put yourself at risk, yes, you have a higher chance of it. Is it, do you have a lot of petty crime? Are you subject to other dangers? Yes, but that happens to the actual crime rate in violent crime rate it's about the same as Los Angeles in the city of Medellin. It's not even in the top. I don't think even in the top 50. And on one of the streams, they were mentioning, no, I don't believe that, because all you hear all this negativity. And Will could tell you, and I could tell you here, that it's a great place to raise a family. There's so many more activities and interactions that you can go through and enjoy. There's so much cultural events. And if you focus yourself on, staying away from all the negative elements, you're not, the chance of you running into an issue is going to be low. And you don't hear a lot of like families being targeted by some random, crazy person in Medellin. So just to give you an example, when my ex-wife came to, visit with my daughter, she would walk every day on her own, to the mall and back and all these places. And she's a small, like 90-pound little Japanese lady. She didn't feel any fear or whatever at all. And, as far as my daughter going out into different events around, we didn't have any issue with that, because a lot of these, a lot of these thieves and people like that, they don't usually target families. They'll, because they have families. And, they do have, somewhat of a code in a strange sort of way. But if you come with the energy that you give off when you come to Medellin is energy you're going to receive back. If you're going to come on a BS level, then that's what you're going to get back. If you're going to come back putting yourself at risk, that's what you're going to come back. If you come in about being positive, trying to build something, or, trying to, to do something positive, then that's the energy that you're going to get back, and people are going to see that.
That is so true. That's an excellent point.
Okay, so the big...
Will, I got a question that Kofor, shout to Kofor, that he asked you. I want you to answer that, and then you can answer the Cologne as well. And he says this. Okay. So I want to hear what you have to say about it. He said, question, does the same rules apply for dating nurses in Colombia as in the States. We know how wild the nurses are in the States. He say I'm a hard on dating nurses here. He say I need a beat Will.
You're not going to have that. Okay, you said nurses, but it's more than just nurses in the United States. It's the nurses, doctors, and lawyers. You're not going to have that problem here because the thing is, they're too busy. They're taking care of their customers or they're taking care of their patients. They don't have time for all that. They are more family oriented here. They're not into running up the club and like, oh, I've been with patients all day, so now I got to go out and be wild. No, that is not how Colombians do it.
Good point.
And so now back to what you guys were talking about with the metro. So the metro runs north to south. There's only like 2 or 3 lines that run east and west. So what they're talking about doing is putting in more east and west to make it more accessible. So that's what they mean by expanding the metro. Okay, as far as the stadium that they're building, right? So they have the mega, venue that's in Bogota, but the one that's going to be here is supposed to be much bigger. It's going to be Arena Primavera. It's here. It's going to be in Sabaneta. I know that because they talk about it every day, and sometimes I drive by it. They're still building it. It's supposed to be finished in sometime this year. I don't know exactly when it's going to be finished, but why is that important? So when these different artists come to, they're not just going to come to Bogota because that's the only place that they only come. But since you have a large influx of foreigners coming to Medellin, so basically they want to have more artists around the world coming to Medellin. So that's what you're going to see. They're getting ready to build up where they're going to be a universal, just a universal city where they can pretty much do whatever you want. I think there's a lot to do in Medellin. If you get away from Parque Jerez, I mean, like me, I'm in the culture. I love art. I mean, I bought art since I've been here. I go to the museum. Dre's talked about that. If you guys even go to the museum, you'd be surprised at the beautiful women that you can meet there. And you can just ask them, hey, if you meet somebody, you see somebody, just ask her for coffee. Just ask. I mean, that's just how simple it is here. I mean, you really don't have to do the pay for play thing. If that's your thing, I get it. But just remember, right? If that chick is doing 25 dudes a week, that's 100 dudes a freaking month. That's 1,200 dudes in a year. And that's just being nice and conservative. So I don't know why you guys want to. So I don't even know why you guys want to even do pay for play. That's just straight nastiness. And just because you might use a condom, you can still get venereal diseases through condoms. There are some, like herpes.
How about the Colombia?
Or crabs.
Oh yeah.
And that's another thing about y'all messing with these the Strata 3s and down. Don't do it, man. I'm telling you. I mean, it's just a different thing. You can tell the difference about the Stratas because if you're in a Strata 6, man, them streets look immaculate. And then once you start getting down to 1, man, they be looking all messed up and everything like that. And here's something, Andre, here's something that you said that I don't even think people really paid attention to. Dre told y'all a long time ago, y'all, this is so common here. There are a lot of women here, those pay-for-play girls, or even some of the girls that are pay-for-play, they don't even have a high school diploma. Some of them girls ain't even got out of primary school. That's the reason why he said y'all need to vet them girls. The more education, the less problems you're going to have.
True. Another thing that I think guys take for granted that I'll say before you get to the colognes and finish, continue on with your topic, by the way. When I say that a lot of these ladies here are either former or current gang members, like literal gang members, like no joke. We're talking about they don't have to have red and blue on, but they are literal gang members that guys are paying to doing the pay for play thing with. So a lot of guys don't realize, like, dude, you sleeping with gang members, bruh. So what makes you think this is gonna turn out right? Would you sleep with gang? Would you just walk up to a gang of females in the States and try to smash one? No. Well, what do you think you're doing in Colombia in some cases? Let me let you go ahead and finish my point and continue on.
No, I'm finished with that part. I think, like I said, with Sabaneta is, from my analysis, is probably going to be the next city behind. Okay, right now you got El Poblado, you got Envigado, you got Laureles. I think Sabaneta is going to be next. So if you want to look for a property, you might want to look there, because I'm telling you, once that stadium gets built, and they're already building more apartment buildings here, I'm telling you, once that gets built in, in the next 2 years, stuff is going to skyrocket. I mean, I got a deal for mine, but like I said, you really have to network. And I did. That's what helped me out. I networked a lot. So that helped me, get my place, that way, like I said, pretty much what I have here in this apartment, as far as even like clothes, my music gear. Of course, I got a lot more music gear in the United States. Some of the music gear that I bought that down with me because, taxes. And that's another thing too. And we'll get into the cars later. But as far as colognes, that guy that asked about, can you go back to that comment, Dre, please?
Oh, yeah.
If you can find
it was. Let me go back to it real quick. Give me a second.
Take your time, brother.
Right here. Let me scroll. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the ones that I get the most comments off of, right? I'll give you the latter first. I'll give you the one that is good comments, but then I'll tell you the one that I really get comments off of. So the ones that I like for the summertime that goes good in Medellin is by Louis Vuitton. It's called City of Stars. City of Stars is about $370, $380 with shipping for that. It's nice and strong. You can put this on all your hot spots, and it's going to last you anyway. If you're in a club, it's probably going to only last you about 4 hours. But if you're just every day, all throughout the day, it's going to probably last you for about anywhere from 8 to 12 hours based off your body chemistry. This is a really good one, City of Stars. The one that's really popular with Louis Vuitton that you can wear anytime in the year, but for spring and summer, I wouldn't wear this at the beach. I would say I should have probably bought that one for the beach, but he asked for spring. So Imagination, and you can see I put a dent up in there. Them Colombians, I get stopped all the time. What lotion? Que pasa lo to kids, whatever they say, man. But I be understanding what they saying. But the thing is, this Imagination goes a long way. It lasts you all day, whether you in the club or not. This lasts you all day. Now both of these also have clones. I have the clone for this one. I should have bought that one in here too, but I have a clone for this one. There's also a clone for this one that is kind of, this is more of a peppery scent, but it is freaking amazing. You will turn heads with this. That's what no matter where you wear this. I mean, you can wear this with jeans, suit, like I said, a nice outfit, but it's a classic cologne. Both of them are classic colognes. Now, the City of Stars, you could also wear this one. You could definitely wear this one at the beach. That one gives a really good scent, and both of them are very masculine.
Absolutely. Shout out to you, Will. One of the clones of Imagination I just so happen to have as well, which is the what's the title of this one? Because this is the box that it comes in. Really nice. And I forget how to pronounce the name. It is Massage, which is Mazaaj. and it is a clone of, it's only like $40, and it is infusion. And I'm telling you, it is probably one of the freshest soap scents, clean scents that I have ever smelled. So I can imagine imagination. You can tell the dent that I put off into this one over the last couple of months as well. So when I want to smell like nobody else in the room, you better believe that this imagination clone, which is the infused, once again, the brand is MAZAAJ. I forget how to pronounce this, but I'm telling you, it's really good. Only $40, but you can also get the $300 buck that our brother was talking about as well. Why am I freezing?
I have the clone for
you have it?
For City of Stars. I'm about to okay, so for City of Stars, okay, so you got this one, and they're both about the same volume. Then you got Shining City. You get this one off of Amazon for like $33, $34. All right, and it smells just like it.
Okay, cool.
You can already see I put a dent into that, and it smells just as good. It's also, and also, if you guys, I wouldn't really wear Imagination in bed because that's a really strong cologne.
Yeah,
but
it is.
The Shining City for sex. Oh yeah, that's it right there.
There you go. And about having a clone, it helps you reserve your original, so you're not using your original as much, gentlemen, when it comes to your colognes. But we're gonna have some fun this month when we do the part 2 of the cologne episode.
Yeah, I bought some clones back down with me because I know there were some comments the last time like, Will, ain't nobody about to spend money like that, man. I said, you know what, brothers, I get it. I ain't trying to do. I got some. Hey, look, I want y'all to know, Will wears clones too. Okay, those are my everyday stuff. Normally, I wear my good stuff is when I go out to a formal setting, like if I'm going to a dinner or something like that. But like every day, just normal. Hey, that's clones all day.
Yeah. The next one, shout out to Dave. Dave asked when we're going to do the next fragrance live stream. That's going to be in the next couple of weeks. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be doing part 2 to the fragrance. So we get a chance to check out some of Will's clones as well.
Yeah, I definitely bought some clones back down with me when I came home. And like Dre, I'm gonna hit you up offline too because I gotta go to the States this month. I wasn't going back until September, but I'm gonna have to hit you up off because tomorrow's like I say Saturday. I'll probably hit you up to see if you because I got a story for you, bro. So I gotta go back to the States.
Cool.
But yeah, go ahead, bro.
I was about to say, let's go back to, because we're still on number 3 when it comes to Medellin changes. Have you guys noticed, this is very important, the changes of the amount of foreign families that are relocating to Medellin? Are you starting to see more foreign families than before?
Yes, definitely, which I was telling you when I was getting my license and also when I was getting my cedula, I seen mostly European families that I see. A lot of European families. Now, when I was in Cali, and I think it really depends. So, but when I was in Cali, I saw like 3 or 4, African-American families that moving down, the wife was pregnant and everything like that. And, that's when I told you, I was like, man, I can't believe it. I'm visiting Cali and I done met somebody from Gary, Indiana. I mean, it was just really, Colombia is really the go-to place. People are starting to see that it is not dangerous. People are starting to see that they can have a more healthier life. I can tell you right now, I have lost 40 pounds in the 20 months that I've been here. And all I did was, I didn't really change my diet, but I ate the right foods, and the foods are not processed like they are in the United States. And also when you go to the gym, right? And I don't go to the gym just look at the ladies, but I will tell you this, that's a motivational issue. Because you get in that gym like, oh yeah, I got to get it right. And I'm going to tell you something, that gentleman is very attractive to Colombian women. Because when they see an American in there, getting it in the gym, they watch you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is definitely true. All heads turn.
I also like to add on that I have seen it, and maybe I see it a little bit more about Black American families because my attorney is an English speaker, so he speaks very good English, so he gets a lot of American clients, and so I've met several families through through him, and also the driver who picked you up from the airport, Dre. He when he comes across Americans, which are usually couples, he'll give me a call and introduce them to make the introduction. So I've run into quite a. Let me see. I don't want to say quite a few, but I ran into several Black Americans families, and a lot of them also are veterans, because a veteran who is either retired or like say 100% disabled can actually take care of a family of like 3 or even 4 on what he makes from his monthly disability check as compared to the United States. So he can actually take care of a family, and you don't know how it, I guess we do, because most of us, if not all of us, are men in here, how it makes a man feel and how much dignity it gives back to him when he knows that he can take care of his family. So, maybe he gets like, whatever, $4,500 a month or from his 100% VA. For him, his family will live an upper middle class lifestyle down here in Colombia. So I've seen, several families, mostly through my attorney, that have moved down here or who are in the process.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I could definitely agree with if you whatever you were trying to accomplish in the States, don't stretch as long, don't stretch like you used to, and then you come to another country, and that 4,500 goes a long way towards a family. I can imagine how a man can feel like, okay, I made the right choice of bringing my family down to Colombia, to whereas in the States, we sitting there scratching our heads on how we gonna make this money stretch. And so that's another thing that a lot of people do not realize, and that's taking us to the next point, is cost of living. Even though some changes haven't, both of you guys have kind of piggybacked in regards to that. Even though changes have gotten a little bit more expensive and the dollar has dropped as far as its value because of the war in oil, in its value in Colombia, do you still believe that Colombia brings a bang for its buck?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I will say it like this, right? Even though, okay, I'm not paying rent, but I still pay an association fee. And my association fee is about $320 a month. That's not going to change. That's one thing about it. My taxes is like maybe $500 is for my taxes versus what I'm paying in the United States. So even when I count my my apartment, and we're not even, because like I said, everything I have is paid for. So my only expense here is food and just the small bills, because my services are only like $50 a month. That's for electric, gas, everything that goes with it, water. That's it. It's not expensive at all. For food, for myself, I mean, like I said, I go to D1, or if I go to Supermercado, it's costing me about $350 a month for food. And I'm talking about steaks. I'm talking about produce. I'm talking about everything. That's what it costs me. So I don't count the liquor. I don't count the entertainment. But if I was to count the entertainment at the most, say if you take somebody out to a restaurant, right? Just like my doctor friends and my lawyer friends, y'all think they take their woman to 5-star restaurants? They not. I'm gonna tell you now, they not. They can, but they not. I mean, my orthodontist, who I'll be seeing here in about, 3 weeks, him and his wife was out, the other day. I think the most they paid for their meal, we was eating with them, me and my friend, because that's how I actually met him, was through her, the girl that I'm dating, the orthodontist. And so one of the things that they were telling me, it's like, yeah, we don't do that. It was 165,000 pesos. I think that's only about what, $35, $40 or something like that. I mean, that's it. You don't have to spend all that money. And that was with like 2 drinks for both of us and, a full meal. You don't have to spend all that money. So even when I used to go to when I go to 5-star restaurants here, I normally go that because that's something I want to do for me. Okay. That's just something I want to do, but I don't do that every month. That's a special occasion thing. Because let me tell you, them 5-star restaurants still here, maybe not as much as in the United States, but they still can hit you over the head for $300 to $500. So don't think that you're just going to like just pay the money and whatever. But be careful also about bars here. I would tell people, if you go out and you think, because like I said, I don't drink when I go out. But if you are going to drink, I would say that pay for your drinks. Don't wait for a bill. Pay as you go. Pay as you go. Because some of these places will hit you over the head. They're targeted. That's in the Poblado area. I'm talking about the Poblado area. I'm talking about Parque Aires area and stuff like that, right? And the whole thing is just that, my whole deal here is that's like the cost of living is really simple. So out of pocket for everything for the whole month for me, I'm paying about anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500.
There you go.
And I live in the Strata 5.
Yep. And a lot of guys don't realize that you don't have to overspend, overpay. And the reason why I'm glad that you mentioned that, because a lot of people are complaining, and you guys hear it, about the prices in Medellin are going up here, the prices of Medellin are going up there. But at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is, the prices in Medellin are what you're making them. A lot of times guys are trying to flirt and 5-star restaurant their life away. And so what ends up happening is they end up in a scenario where they're like, man, I wish I would not have spent as much as I did, because I realized that maybe, I could have did something else with that money. So you're absolutely correct. It's not really the cost of living is raising. It's the cost of splurging is raising. And so if you're not splurging all the time, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, if you're not going to El Poblado, the thing is, right, I'm gonna tell you something. I rarely go to El Poblado. When I go to El Poblado, when me and T-Mac decide we're gonna meet with everybody. Other than that, we don't hang out in El Poblado like that. You want me to tell you what? Because most of the Colombians ain't hanging out in El Poblado. They hanging out in other sectors, okay? The thing is, the guys, when y'all come here, y'all go with what's easy, and that's why it's so expensive, because y'all go with what's easy. But the thing is, it's like, if you get some Colombian friends, this is the reason why you network. That's the reason why it's important to network. We can tell you all those places where you can go and stuff like that. Actually, back in the day, even when I used to give people my list of places to go just to keep you safe, but people don't want that. People want to go out there. They want to be flashy. They want to go out there and, act like they're the big dog and stuff, or they want to go and party. They want to go do that. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. But I say, if you really want to go and party, go to an actual salsa club that's not in El Poblado, because you're going to have a good time and it's going to be more reasonable. That's just why you got to network. You go to those Gringo Tuesdays. Even if you're here, go to a Gringo Tuesday. I'll tell you better go.
That's absolutely correct. You get a lot of networking done with Gringo Tuesday. A lot of it. Let's go to the next one that go ahead, T-Mac.
I say I totally agree with what Will was saying. And I would add a couple of things about when you come here. So, some men, some people, I would say some guys, they like to like impress women out here. And
you gotta do that.
so like to me, if I date a Colombian woman and she wants to go to these expensive places more than like twice, I drop her. I was like, no, she just like either she's a gringo hunter, that's the one who looks for foreigners and try to just milk them for much as they can, or it's gonna just be it's a precursor of what's gonna happen if you actually try to continue with somebody like that, and it's not worth it. So right now, like my when I have a date, it's basically me ordering Rappi, which is like a delivery service. I think we lost Dre for a little bit. He should be back. And watching Netflix. So usually if a woman is into you, she wants to spend time with you. And she's happy watching Netflix, Prime Video, or whatever, and ordering like a $10 pizza on Rappi, and you guys just enjoying each other's company. And so we mentioned something about, today I went to see the Michael Jackson movie, and I was shocked in a pleasant way of how much we paid for the ticket. We went earlier in the day around noon, before 3 p.m. And so, I couldn't believe it popped up as 20,000 pesos for 2 tickets. I was like, how the heck is it 20,000 pesos for 2 tickets? That's the equivalent of like $5. I was like, $5 at a movie theater for 2 tickets. For a matinee. Even a matinee in the United States ain't gonna come close to that. And man, I was just like, I was pleasantly surprised as much as Medellin it has been increasing. So my rent has been increasing about $100 a month for like the last 5 years. But it's not everything. And there's the overall value is still good in Medellin. And it's a lifestyle that you live. If you're gonna go out and try to impress some woman, all you're doing, I believe, is doing yourself a disservice, because of a woman who only wants to value you for what you can bring to the table, as far as taking her to expensive restaurants all the time. To me, I don't want a woman like that. I'm starting to think like a Colombian. I like to have good value, and when 90% of my dates are just sitting watching Netflix and ordering Rappi, that's what I'm used to. And when I go out, it's like my actually girlfriend. She's kind of like, she doesn't want to go to a fancy restaurant. Frisbees or Cubanos is good when she goes out, to a Central Comercial. It's just simple. I mean, she likes, just simple, and just likes to spend time as like a couple or as a family, and not worrying about trying to go to some kind of high-end restaurant in Medellin. And Will is right. If you can go to some restaurants. And it can get pretty pricey if you're gonna roll like that, especially if you go several times. So I just like I won't deal with a woman who wants to go to a place. In fact, it's kind of a test. And Will gave me advice when I was dating an attorney. I had a first date. He said, "Why don't you meet her at this place so you can see where her head is at?" And yeah, sure enough, she didn't react too well. So I was like, "Well, I think we're not compatible. We need to let it go." But she happened to adjust, so we became, like friends and cool. But still, it gives you a good idea about where their mind is at when you lower their expectations and you maintain your standards, like what Dre talks about all the time. Okay, go back to you, Dre.
Hey, Dre, let me say something real quick. The dentist chick, right? The one that I told you, the young lady that I started dating.
Dre, can you hear Will?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. So when I asked her out, and I told her, I said, "Hey, I want to go see the Michael Jackson." Said, "I'm from Gary, Indiana," and stuff like that. That's all I said, And she's like, "Sure, let's go." Da 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 da. And so we get to the movies, So I pick her up from work, and we go to the movies and stuff like that. And she said, "Yeah, I want to ride with you and stuff. You could bring me back to my car because cool. She got her own car and everything." And so we get to the movie theater, and I go to pay. She said, "What are you doing? I already paid for our tickets." Bruh, I was like, She already paid for the she said, I just wanted to see the movie with you. I mean, so when we talk about those quality women, they're out there, but you guys gotta, like I said, if you're in that 5%, y'all gotta, I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna say it like this. Everybody can't be the Black Charlie Sheen, okay? Because when y'all come to Colombia, y'all be on y'all Black Charlie Sheen. I'm just gonna be like this, okay? That's TV, all right? And if you know, Charlie was paying $1,000 an hour for, them hookers. That's what he was doing, all right? Now, of course, there's nowhere like that in Medellin. I know y'all will say, oh, well, that's a small price and stuff, but you still got to think about the dangers. You got to still think about where that woman body has been. And, the thing is, that's a working girl. And you got to figure, right, if you're not going to the brothel, that girl is probably not that healthy because she ain't getting them checkups. So when they're in the brothel, and why I know it's true, because even the crackheads here, the medical team goes out and treats them. I mean, you will see medical people out there. It's not like in the United States. They actually treat their medical. They actually treat the druggies here. I was like, wow, I was impressed. They do a lot here in Medellin. So you'll see that. You'll see the impoverished areas. You'll see the areas that they say, hey, don't go here, don't go there. I mean, and like Dre said, there are definitely more women here. So from ages, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to, like I said, depending on your age, from 18 to 40, there is a bunch of women. And there are a bunch of girls that, are, got their college degrees. Like I said, there's another thing. If you come here, you want to take some classes, at the university, think about how many girls you can meet at the university. At least you know that you ain't gonna get robbed and drugged because she at the university. But there's some things, there's some parameters. I think, like I said, maybe that's another topic for, me, Dre, and T-Mac, that we can kind of do on the do's and don'ts of dating, because me and him have given each other, it ain't just me telling him stuff, he tells me stuff too. We piggyback off each other and we keep each other smart on things. And like I said, that network is you need it. It's necessary.
Yes. Yes, sir. And this even answering that question, I know T-Mac was in the comments in regards to, because this is the last question or set of our segment that we're going to talk about, home ownership to renting. So it's kind of funny that somebody brought that up and T-Mac responded to it. So I want to hear what you have to say in regards to that when it comes to Medellin, because so many buildings are going up. Should I buy one? Should I invest in one? Or should I just rent for a while and see what's going on? What do you have to say, T-Mac, in regards to that?
So so I believe it's kind of like what your goals are. If you're going to be here, what your long-term and short-term goals are, whether you plan on, if you settled on Medellin or not, of course. And if you want to use some of your savings to make revenue. So some people, they come to Medellin and they want to buy revenue properties. So that's why it's not like a simple answer which one's better. So if you want to settle down here, you want to say raise a family, or you want to just own a place, not have to pay rent and be subject to the increases. Yeah, maybe you just want to buy, or if you get in your mind that you looking for a good bargain, and if you found a good bargain, you're gonna move in. So for me, as example, when I came here, I looked at some pre-construction properties. The reason I did that is because I have a SAS corporation. It's a property development. And my goal was, I wasn't focused much at the time on buying a place to live in, because it was only about, when you did the conversion, about $550 a month. So I was like, shoot, I'm just going to rent. I'm going to go ahead and buy some investment properties. And if you do pre-construction, it's incredibly easy and a lower barrier entry to get into here in Colombia. And you have the same rights as a Colombian citizen. And also, they distinguish here, whether you're going to have a place in the city and if you're going to have like a finca or a country home on the the outskirts. So, and also I think in that way, I want to get a finca. So my priority actually, I would rather have a finca right now than an apartment, but I keep my options open. If I find like a good bargain that's too good to pass up, I'm going to go after it. And the reason I'm slow rolling it is because I'm a partial owner of an apartment building in Los Angeles. And in my city, the average price for a home is $1.3 million. And so I have that commitment to pay because I'm paying from my basically my daughter's expenses until she graduates. And that was the agreement I made with her mom that nothing's going to change. I moved to Colombia and I'm going to pay the mortgage and the expenses. So that way, my daughter doesn't have to worry about you struggling financially trying to carry a lot of extra burden. And I'm not worried about that. I'm paying more than would be required by child support. What I want is for a positive experience for my daughter, and also to set the example about how my daughter, what kind of man she's gonna look for in the future. Not a man who's selfish, but a man who can even treat his ex-wife, with respect, and therefore it's gonna set her standards of what to expect in a man. So yes, I probably spend twice as much as I would be paying on child support, and I consider that house is hers, and her mother doesn't have to worry about, struggling or anything like that, because even though she has a good career, she makes a good income. Southern California trying to get another home, if I was to sell that one, which I could force her to do that, and that's what the court would say to do. But why do that? And just wait 4 years instead of having to force her mom to go find a property which she's going to end up paying over $1 million to get, which would be a burden. Only about 11% of the people, or less actually probably now, in the state of California can actually afford a home. I believe it's less than 11% of the people. That was like several years ago before, the housing prices have, gone up to the point where they are now. And if anybody actually wants to send a receipt, I'll send you a screenshot from Redfin or Zillow about the median price of the home. And so my goal is that once I sell my property not my house, but the apartment, I was going to take that revenue and I wanted to build some new constructions of about 5-unit to 6-unit apartments, because there's like a demand for some of those. And what I've seen in these neighborhoods, they'll find like a single family home that's old, and they'll just like bulldoze it, and they'll build a building. Yes. And what they'll do is that you can use some of the techniques of some of these pre-construction companies, the contractors, what they do. And I've actually met with some pre-construction contractors from the United States. What they'll do is have actually the say they'll find 5 people who want to buy it. They'll have them start paying for it. They'll get some agreements with the banks, and so you have them actually start paying part of the construction costs, and and hold a portion of it into it's almost like an escrow company, like Alianza or something like that. But I wanted to take my time before I actually start utilizing my real estate contracting company to learn about it, beforehand. And yes, I'm spending money keeping some employees part-time, but if I jump into it too quickly, I could lose several times of what I would have avoided if I had, just spend some time to actually learn, that industry, because it's new to me. I'm an engineer. So even though I've owned real estate in the past, I need to learn how it's done in Colombia. I need to learn the laws. I need to learn the impacts. I need to learn if I'm going to get the pre-construction properties, and rent those out as Airbnbs, I need to like realize that there's some restrictions on that. So I know I didn't answer it directly. What's the best to rent or to own? And that is because the best for what's best for me is not the best for Will, and it's not the best for official Kobe. Shout out to you, brother, and or for the Dre or anybody else. Everybody has their own goals in life, and their plans might be different on achieving them goals than mine are. Okay, I'll pass it on.
And thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. Somebody had a question that we're going to hit. Shout out to my brother IMF. But before we get to that question, I want to get to our brother, the official one, Cole in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This man has been here for quite a while. Hey, Cole, do us a favor with your intro. Let guys know, because I know you're some of everywhere. Let guys know how long have you been coming back and forth and or living in Colombia, and what started your journey to this particular country?
Yeah, so I started coming to, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, just making sure. So I started coming to Colombia back in 2022, June, on my birthday. I had a friend that I grew up with down here in South Florida. It's a long story. He ended up getting deported. His dad worked with Escobar. I'll tell you about it later.
Right.
But after high school, he moved back. And then after the pandemic, he's always kept up with me. You know, I moved to LA to get into the whole entertainment industry, but he told me to come down there. And I started to see, okay, this is around after Kevin Samuels passed. So the passport movement started to pick up a little bit. So I figured, okay, let me just check it out, right? So I go out there the summer of 2022, and it was just life-changing. I went to Medellin, really before, I would say what it is now, right? Before a lot of big content creators and stuff. Of course, you had Ace Live and others. But yeah, man, first time leaving the airport, you drive around, you see the city of Medellin. It's like, wow, it's life-changing.
Right.
It's beautiful. It was just like a city on a hill, on hills. And I just had to learn Spanish. So it was just a lot to take in. People were friendly, the culture, everything. Of course, of course, the women were beautiful. And I was just taking it all in. It was a good time. Then I came back 6 months later for New Year's, coming into 2023. And then I went to Cartagena, and I just kept coming back. I've been back and forth 12 times to Colombia at this point. It's been almost 4 years, right? Yeah, almost. Every time I go, I spend at least 2 weeks there, 2 or 4 weeks.
Right.
So I would say I've spent a substantial amount of time within 4 years, almost probably a good 18 to 20 months out of 4 years in Colombia. Got to B1 level Spanish, I had to learn it. Yeah, and now I did have a couple questions for T-Mac and Will, which I'll get to later. And I just want to thank those guys and thank all you guys for putting this together and giving out so much good information. Yeah, so I'm looking to move there. Let's say towards the end of this year. Just looking into it specifically, Medellin is I think there's so much going on. In a good way, because there are so many opportunities. There's so many people that you can connect with that are doing things aside from obviously a lot of the crazy stuff we see. But you don't have to be a part of those things when you're down there. As Will was saying earlier, and T-Mac, all that stuff tends to be in a small circumference, right, in Poblado. But yeah, that's basically it. Just Medellin, Cartagena. Where have I been? Hanging out with you, Dre, and Cali. I gotta come back in August. Man, Cali's different. Cali is I made a TikTok about that that went viral. I was leaving that same night. Oh, the same night we was out at the salsa spot.
Right.
They had me out there till 6 a.m. I'm like, man, yeah. I was, man. Look, salsa dancing all night long, man. But yeah, in general, I think Colombia is a beautiful place, and I wouldn't mind them putting a visa on it. We clean it up a little bit as far as the influx of people. Do some filtering.
Yeah, I don't either. That's a good intro into our next segment.
Hey, Dre, somebody has 2 questions.
Okay, go ahead. Let me let you answer those questions, Will, since you noticed them.
Yeah, they were asking about the investment in Colombia. So just like what T said, it's all situational. And also what Dre said, you have to treat America as your business. You have to have good credit. But if you want to start a business in Colombia, because it changes every year, if you want a business visa, the M visa business is going to be $47,000. If you want to invest in a property, then it's $165,000. That's the investment visa. So typically, those can be from 1 to 3 years. Typically, your first visa is normally for 1 year. Then, like me, I'm applying for my second visa, but my second visa is going to be an investment visa. So when you have an investment visa, that helps you out a lot working towards your residency. You're more easier to get approved and reapproved as long as you maintain the property, as long as you follow the laws, do what you're supposed to do, your income doesn't significantly decrease, because you still got to have that income verification regardless of when you do that. But for the investment visa, it's more so for the house. So then your income doesn't really count with that. So different visas do different things. But if you are first coming to Colombia, I would say come here for years first, because buying is, to me, you got to think of it like this, right? I came here my first time in 2021. I didn't buy until 2025, okay? So I wanted to understand the process. I wanted to understand what needs to happen. I need to understand how the country's political situation is. There's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. And Colombia, because it's such a tourist destination, it is considered a safe buy. But you have to, like I said, they don't have MLS here. So you really have to do a lot of searching on yourself. On properties, because it just makes it easier. But once you get into a property, okay, that's a good thing, because now, why is that important? So if you get into a property, most likely you're going to have to pay cash for it. Why is that, important? Okay, because when you pay cash, all right, that also gives you buying power. So that way, if you wanted to go out there and get that finca in another area, you don't have to pay as much. And like one of my plans, what I plan to do is basically, once I finish closing on my house, I'm still waiting on 7-Netta to issue the taxes, because that's what's actually holding up the closing, the taxes. And that's a new thing here, that it doesn't come like the first of the year like it does in the United States. Remember, patience. Colombians are very slow. But I will go to the bank and I can actually borrow against my house, and I can go buy land, and I'm probably going to get me 5 or 6 containers, those traveling containers, and I'm actually going to build a property on my land and just deck it out. There's a lot of ways you could do it. There's some real, and that's cheap. That's a cheap way of, building a nice property. But now this is something that you have to take in consideration. To like what T said, he would prefer being out in, like on a finca in the farm. But there's also caveats to that. You have to have a caretaker, because here in Colombia, if you don't have a caretaker, you will have squatters, or you will have people that will be, what you say, ravaging your property, or stealing. So So whatever I build is also going to have a smaller house for a caretaker to live there with their family, and they watch that the whole time. That's their pay. But just also like T said, you need to understand the law, because you need to get contracts. You need to have certain things in place, because if you don't do things the right way by the law, it can get you in trouble.
That's an excellent point. Excellent answers too. Pull you down.
Kobe had a question about moving in. So or down to Colombia. So you're talking about this year, right, Kobe?
Yeah, as far as I was thinking about Envigado. I knew we were talking about that earlier.
Okay. Do you have an attorney yet?
No. So I haven't really, I haven't looked like deeply into it yet.
Okay.
So I'm just,
Which is good. I mean, it's to me. I always recommend that, and I have some I can refer you to, but have a good attorney that can go, because there's so many visa types. Even though they might say there's a V visa, which is usually either student or digital nomad, which doesn't count towards your residency. And then you have M visas, but there's so many different types of M visas, and they have different rights. So like a M retirement visa won't be the same as an M investment visa, and or a M parent visa or M marriage visa. Some give you the legal right to access their social network or to make money in the country. Some give you like it takes 5 years to actually get the rights to permanent residency, and some give you like 2 or 3 years. It depends. So that's good to having a good experienced attorney, and I have some that I could refer you to. And as far as like the investment visa versus like a business visa, as an example, my attorney told me this with the and of course it's done like Will was saying. The law changed because with the minimum salary that bumped up the investment visa by over $30,000 a year to do the property investment. Now, with the business has a lower threshold, but what people don't know is that it used to be like about $30-something thousand to that you show that you put into the business, but you don't actually have to put into business. All they wanted to do is that the Colombian government wants to have it legalized. What does that mean? That means it either needs to go through a Colombian bank or brokerage company, go through the Central Bank of Colombia, so that it can pass the anti-money laundering, check. And after that, you can do whatever you want to with it. So you can use that to qualify for a visa, which is no longer about 30-something thousand. It's a multiple of the minimum wage, but it's still a lower threshold. So that's why it's good now to start talking with a attorney. And also there's some gotchas that can happen with the visa. Like there's some people ran into, like when a visa is being processed, you cannot cross borders. You automatically are going to get denied once you cross the border. So if you apply in the US, you can't come to Colombia, because if you cross the border in Colombia, you're going to get disqualified because you do a movement report. You're going to pull it in the beginning. They're going to pull it before the visa, look at it at the visa issuance. And also I know it happened to somebody got a gotcha when they applied within Colombia. They were a lawyer here, but they had to go back to the US. They got denied because they crossed the border. And they will check that like 100% of the time. So these are like the things to talk about with an attorney beforehand. And so that's like and also like, the goals and the plans of like what you want to do in terms of if you're going to with revenue or things of that nature. And a good attorney can help you out with that, because they're less specialized here in Colombia. Once you get like that Juris Doctorate or whatever, they kind of like open up to whatever area of law that they feel kind of competent in. They don't need any kind of special, certification. So like my attorney, he could do visas, he can do criminal, and also he can do real estate, right? And some lawyers, they only do maybe just visas or this certain areas. So it's good to to find someone who meets your goals. not who's the cheapest, but who meets your goal and adds the best value. So even though my attorney, he's not the most expensive and he's not the cheapest, but he's fluent in English and he has a lot of experience in a few areas. And he's come to my house, a few times, had lunch, and we've had coffee together and talked. And he's actually helped out with both my business registration, my SAS Corp. He's the one who kept me out of trouble by telling me what the labor laws are in terms of hiring a salaried employee versus an independent contractor, how you had to have that written down, because there are some slick Colombians here who know the game. They will let you, hire them, and you're paying them you're paying them, and you think they're an independent contractor, but if you don't do it properly, they can go to court and get damages against you. So he basically broke down, so I do a contract for everybody. What I do is I get a Rocket lawyer and I'll translate it into Spanish or whatever. Or one of my employees, he has a Juris Doctorate, Eddie. So Will also hires him and he'll help out do some of the contracts. But by putting in the time and hiring a professional to go over all of this, not just my visa, but also my business goals, he was able to do a lot of cost avoidance, to avoid extra liability and costs that I could have incurred if I just jumped right in and just hired somebody and start paying them under the table. But since I have a contract with each of them, and I follow these independent contractor laws, I don't have to pay them the 2 bonuses a year like Dre was talking about earlier. I don't have to pay them all these, into the social network. It's up their responsibility. I give bonuses anyway, just because I want to, loyalty means a lot to me. And I'll pay them like a salaried employee, but I follow certain rules. Like I can't give them set hours. You have to do it almost like what's called a statement of work. And you can't give them like a set hours. But anyway, that's just some examples. It's kind of like what you want to do here. If you want to do your own business, and I would start there. And in terms of housing, you've been here several times, so doing Airbnb is not going to be the way to go, of course, long term. So in getting unfurnished apartment is difficult. So, but there's ways to be able to do it and to have that set up into your plan before you come. That's going to save you a lot of expense. You can save yourself like 50% on the cost, 25 to 50% of the cost by doing Airbnb versus unfurnished, things of that nature. So all those things, if you you kind of put down what your plan is, and bring it in front of some whether Will, myself, or some other person who's been out here, we can refer you to the right people who can give you the advice to make sure that it'll go smoother.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds good. Appreciate that.
Also, when you move here, right? So actually, a deposit is, illegal. You're not supposed to really pay that. But this is what they do, right? To help you get an apartment, you will have to pay 6 months of the rent, and then 2 months of the deposit for the rent. So basically, you're paying 8 months up front.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't talk about that. And a lot of people don't have the money to, just do that. Because like I said, with rent going up, like I said, when I first did it, for everything, it was like $3,700. Huh?
Let me ask you, what area is that? Because that's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah,
maybe that's the main thing.
Well, no, the thing is, there are services here in Medellin that help foreigners get. So, because normally you need a cosigner to get an apartment, right? It don't even matter if you're a millionaire. It don't even matter if you're a millionaire. They just want that, right? So it doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to pay that 6 months and that 2 months. That's what they don't tell you. So even though it's an unwritten rule, you might as well go ahead on and realize that you're going to be paying your rent every 6 months. Now, is it cheaper than an Airbnb? It is actually. It's cheaper than an Airbnb, but it's like you might be paying that 8 months up front. But if you go for an additional 6 months, then okay, you're paying like almost 40% less because you're going to be paying those fees for them to check you out. You're going to be paying fees for them taking you. That's what all that stuff covers. And then the 6 months rent to the actual owner of the deal. So what you see here in Colombia, what a lot of people don't know, like Colombians will live in the city and it'll be a small apartment, but they got like 7 big ass houses out there in the freaking country somewhere. And I'm not talking about no little houses. I'm talking about houses that make you be like, look at them like, hey man, this dude work. So don't think Colombians are poor. There in Medellin, there's a lot of rich Colombians. In Bogota, there's a lot of rich Colombians. And now, is that number big? When I say large, it's big for Colombia because, like I said, most of those people that are business owners, because what you have to understand with Medellin is that it wasn't a lot of people. But when those foreigners start picking up, everybody from around Colombia came to Medellin to open up businesses, which started to drive up the prices. So it wasn't just the foreigners driving up the prices. It was also the people who moved here from other parts of the country that are driving up the prices. Foreigners only make up, foreigners, and why did I say that, right? Foreigners only make up 1% of the real estate market in all of Colombia. So it's not us driving up the prices, it's the Colombians driving up the prices.
One thing I like to add is also the network is very important. For me, coming in off the bat, getting the chance of me getting an unfurnished apartment was very low, but I happened to have somebody in my network who I had been, chatting with for a couple of years, and she was able to put the apartment in her name, and I don't know how she did it. She was very, very smart young lady. She had she was going to computer science, getting a computer science degree. But anyway, make a long story short, she was able to get this apartment. And, she didn't want, anything extra in return. She put the services in her name because I didn't have a Visa or Cedula at the time. But I'm the kind of person, I don't like, even though I don't like to take advantage. I always try to make sure that you're fair. I believe in living life with fairness. So I would just break her off money anyway. I would give her 400,000 pesos per month. And I still do it, even though I had to fire her over, some, disagreements, whatever. That was a few years ago. I still make sure that I give her 400,000 pesos a month because she's taking the risk and the liability. And even though this apartment's in her name, to be honest, the owner's been here. The agency knows I live here. Nothing's in my name, but they treat me as if I signed the contract. But the responsibility is basically 100% hers. If I walked away, she would get in trouble. And that's why in property that's why you have to have a fiador, which is a cosigner. And the same thing with business. When you open up a business here, if you're not a Colombian citizen, you have to have what's called a legal representative, which is a Colombian national. Because if you break out and go back to Florida, they want somebody here that they can prosecute, that's going to have liability. So I have to pay a person for my private company, and also for our veterans, nonprofit. We had to hire a person to serve that role as a legal representative. And Colombia is going to want you for any business transaction to have a local Colombian that can take responsibility. So that's why I say the network is very important, because this person has to be trusted. This person is going to have access to your business bank accounts. This person, you can't get a PriceSmart business account unless they're with you to sign up for it. You can't get a business bank account without this person to sign up for it. So that's why it's good to have that, get somebody who you can trust, or using your local, whatever, expat network or whatever, somebody who can be trusted, who's not going to, do you wrong, and vice versa. To develop the reputation locally that you're not going to do them wrong. And that's why I've been paying for the last almost 5 years, this person, 100 to 100 with the exchange rates by 120 some a month or whatever it is. But, I pay that because I wanted to always her, even though we had a little falling out, I always wanted her to know that I'm a fair person. I'm not going to do wrong by her, even though I had to fire her. And, we still talk to this day. We'll still have lunch because I believe that if you live your life that way, you're gonna have, if you have the respect of your enemies as well as your friends, you're gonna go a lot further than having the respect of no one.
Good way of putting it. That's a great way of putting it. Is Andre and I is our uncle. So just in case you guys, with our apartment, our co-signer is, and like you said, and now we're talking about unfurnished apartments. We're not talking about Airbnb or apartments that are furnished and are kind of like presented to be like Airbnbs. We're talking about, you got your, like in the States, you got your unfurnished apartment or unfurnished house. It don't matter how T-Mac and Will are 100% correct. It does not matter how much money you got and how much money you try to throw at them. You need a co-signer. That's everybody. That's locals as well as foreigners. I think a lot of time we don't speak on that because so many people, when they come to Colombia, they either rent an Airbnb because it's so inexpensive for the whole month. And so you're like, man, they only want $800 for this Airbnb and it got utilities and everything, or they only want $1,000 for a month. That's cool. $1,000. It costs me more in the States. And so we talk so much about Airbnb rentals that we don't talk about the unfurnished apartment rentals, or even apartments that came with a little bit of furniture, but they're considered as if a local is renting that spot. And so T-Mac is absolutely correct. I just want to piggyback off of that and emphasize Andre's uncle is our co-signer. So he's 100%. And we had the money. We had the money to pay for the whole year off. Didn't matter. They said we need a co-signer, and so we found family, and family is ex-military. And here's the other part, T-Mac. Your co-worker, I mean your co-signer, cannot be an unemployed Colombian. You can't get one of your pay-for-play chicks to be the co-signer. I think some of these dudes think they can just get some regular. Come on now, if they get a regular pay-for-play chick to be the co-signer, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So because they're going to check into the, like T-Mac say, if you jump and you leave Colombia, they want to know, okay, does this person have the ability to have a job or something to where we can sit back and take this person to court to get some type of money? Because so if it's just a regular pay-for-play chick from the brothel and you think you're going to have her be your co-signer, fellas, no, they will check and know that this woman ain't got no real job.
And one more thing I'd like to add before we move on is that since I own the business here, through the SAS Corp, the business is considered like in the US, a separate person, the entity. Mm-hmm. So that business is considered like a Colombian citizen almost. So I could have used my business as a co-signer for my apartment. At the time, I didn't have enough, like financial records, so I didn't go through that way. But that's also, let's say if you're renting for like a while and you have a business that's making revenue, and that business is treated the same as a Colombian citizen. So you can actually have the business act as your fiador. So just, something I found, because I asked this question to the agency that did that. But Dre is totally right. It don't matter how much you make. You can make $500,000 a year. They don't care.
That's true. They do not. And there is no way to like, well, can I pay you off this amount and we don't need a cosign? Like I said, we had all the money for the whole, and I've met several guys that had all the money for the whole year and they still needed a cosigner. And so it is what it is in regards to that. Shout out to our brother Johnny. Johnny's been hanging out with us tonight. Johnny said this. He said, song of the night is Boys to Men by New Edition. You could have written this song. He said, Big Brother Dre, real talk. Shout out to all you guys, man, that have been here. The last topic that we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm glad that my brother the official one, Kobe, is here, because I want to hear from his perspective first. Then we're going to go to T-Mac, and then we're going to close this question, the final question for the night, through Will. What do you guys think about Medellin doing what they're doing as far as the cleanup of the behavior, the guys that's out there with certain behavior, doing the deportation, turning the dudes around at the airport? What is y'all guys? I want to start with Kobe. What is you guys' hypothesis in regards to this? Are you guys pro? Are you guys against? Are you guys saying I'm gonna see what happens? I want to start with Kobe and hear what you have to say about this move that's going on, and I think it's going to continue going on for a couple of years until guys get the message that Colombia is trying to attract a different type of tourist.
Yeah, well, I think, well, for me, I'm really just waiting to see what happens because there are so many different angles, I guess you could say. Some people are saying, oh, it's only a certain type of person. Whether, obviously you have guys saying there's some racism in there, but then other people are saying that they're just judging by how people are dressed. I don't know. For me, it looks like there are just a lot of people just trying to, tell a story or go viral off of posting different things. But for me, I do think overall Colombia is trying to clean up. I do. Now, I don't think it's perfect, right? Obviously,
no.
And then I think you're always going to have bad apples, right? You're going to have maybe you have a couple of security, or I don't know if they call them TSAs over there in the airport. But, you're going to have guys in there that exploit whatever's going on. But in general, I do think they are trying to clean up for their goals in the future, for the stadium they're building, for the beach they're building, for the Christ the Redeemer. I do think they're trying to head towards a different type of tourism, even though we know this is the minority, right? Out of the millions of people that visit there, they're not this type of traveler that's going to cause issues or be a part of like bad press. But overall, I mean, I'm with it, but I in my opinion, like I said when I first came on, I wish they would have done the visa thing as a part of it. I think it would have been cleaner, It's another way to kind of do it in a way that's a little bit more strict. I think Brazil, I had to get a visa when I went into Brazil.
Right.
And I didn't see a bunch of this out there. It was pretty strict, Brazil, when I was in Rio, it wasn't. Now it's different. Like obviously Rio has their own type of environments, but as far as tourists, it was pretty chill. It was all good,
That's a good point.
Yeah. And a lot of times I don't know necessarily what to believe, to be honest with you, because guys will say, oh, this is happening. But then we'll say, okay, it was 45 guys they got caught, or they said 50 something guys. Yeah, but they let in how many? That might be 1%. So I don't know exactly what the filtration process is that they're using. So overall, I'll say I am down with the filtration, or the, however you want to call it, I'll say the process of changing the type of tourist that comes into the city, or putting out a new type of image there, because it's in alignment with where they're taking the promotion of the city. So
it's almost like they're putting their money where their mouth is, type of thing. When you see I can see if they were just doing it to do it, but then when you see the new touristy things coming, like, okay, I see what. Yeah, they put the money where their mouth is.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's not going to be perfect. Obviously, even here in any airport, and you just had the episode with the girls getting through LA with all that weed. So you're always going to have people working at the airports that just whatever, let stuff slide. But in general, I think it's the right direction. And then we saw them even arrest the girls, the slave, the queens, whatever they call themselves. The girls that are also drugging guys. So they are doing it on both sides, as we can see. They are making an effort to publicly bring forth this image, like, hey guys, we're not playing around. This is, we're trying to create a new image here for the city specifically. Yeah. So, I mean, those are my thoughts in general.
All right, let's see what T Mac has to say with his closing remarks regarding this particular scenario. What do you think?
I think it's for a few reasons, and I do agree with Kobe when he was saying, like, I wish they had a visa process just like they do with Brazil, and that would make it cleaner. Now, the way I see it is that, having lived here, Colombian people are very proud, and also they don't like to be embarrassed. The quickest way for a woman to leave you in Colombia is for you to embarrass her. She don't care how much money you got or nothing. She gonna be gone because they don't like to be. I'm sure if any, people dated a Colombian woman, they're like, you humiliated me. You never hear from her. Well, usually they come back after 6 months or they contact you. But anyway, so same thing happens. They know that people here do, that P for P and all that, and they would not have had issues with it until people start broadcasting it all over the world. I mean, about how I can go. You can find, you can do P for P here. This is how you're gonna do it. This is how much it costs and all that. No, and the fact that over such a short period of time, the tourism as a part of their economy has skyrocketed, right? And they want to attract the right type of tourism, especially in Medellin, because it's a very conservative place. Like when Fico got elected, it was something like he got something like over 50% of the vote, like 70 something percent of the vote. Now the elections are going to be at May 31st May 31st, I believe it is. So of course, some of it's political. They want to show that they're going to do something to make a change within Colombia. They don't want their image to be one as an open air brothel, like that a lot of people try to, portray it as. And I hear this argument, to me, that doesn't make sense. They said, well, why should they, just ban, P for P if they don't want it? The thing is, it's constitutionally protected. That's one. And I say, look at this. Instead of being an arrogant American, turn it around. What Americans can own guns in the United States? Colombian can't. Just because a Colombian can't own a gun, should they tell it? Well, they should ban guns since we can't own it. You can't come to a country with their arrogance and tell them how they're going to run their country. We are guests in this country. We are foreigners. And a lot of people come with this arrogance. Well, it's good for the local Colombians. They know that they have problems with, underage, exploitation within their own culture. They don't want some ninjas coming in from all over the world adding to the problem. They got enough, and they're making some progress on that by passing laws such as like the minimum marriage law 18 and all this kind of stuff. So they're trying to do their cleanup quietly within their own family. And as all of us know, within like a family, we want to keep our business internal. We don't want it blasting out, embarrassing the whole family that we have all these problems. And we don't want, especially no outsider coming in, learning all the family business and advertising it. So that's the way I see it about in Colombia. If people were to be discreet, like it has been going on all these years, and had been, I could say, good actors instead of, trying to be braggadocious and trying to act like, to me, it's not a flex, to hire P for P and try to, floss, act like they're trying to floss. You're renting a person, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it didn't make sense, but people did that. And now we're experiencing the backlash. One thing I don't like is that when I leave the country and come back, yes, I've seen them go check Angel Watch on me. I don't want to be grouped in with those people or even, have the suspicion that I'm, part of that crowd because I come here for serious reasons. And, I come here for live. It's different for me. I'm just not a visitor. And there was one more point I wanted to make about that, but it escaped my mind. But anyway, you can see my point. I'm all for it. and I don't think that foreigners deserve to have the same, or they're it's actually required that they can have the same exact rights as a Colombian in that regard. If Colombia wants to make it harder on a foreigner to to do that, so be it. It's their country, it's their decision, and we can't just come in and say this is you're going to lose money if you don't accommodate us. No, they're going to make plenty of money with all the families. A family that goes to Disneyland pays a lot more than some individual traveler that's going to come and do P for P. You see the prices at Disneyland Hotel, it's like $400, $500 a night, or even more if you do the suites. Because I tried to, book a party, birthday weekend for my daughter there. So they're going to bring in a different, more business investment, which has been, even though it's somewhat has been hurting over due to some of the socialist policies and Colombia as a whole within Medellin, it has not gone that way. It has actually increased because of more of the conservative policies they have in Medellin. So Medellin has doubled down on that because they have a lot of ambitions for the city, and they don't want that image because they don't want international businesses from Europe, from the United States, to have the wrong impression and to bring in a risk, because they're run by shareholders. And what it's like when I was one more point, and I'll be quiet. But when I was a program manager for the it was called Mitsubishi Regional Jet, we were trying to save money instead of flying to Japan, hold the meetings in Hawaii. So and we were saying this is going to cut down on travel costs, and we can bill you less, by about, let's say, 60%. But the impression when people think about Hawaii is vacation. You guys aren't going to go to Hawaii and do business. You're going to be having fun. You're going to be like at the beach and all this kind of stuff. So the Japanese executives will not go for it, even though it was saving 50% in their costs. So, but he said, you guys wanted a cost reduction proposal, and this is what we're doing. And even though, I'm using that analogy, for Colombia, it's the impressions mean a lot when you're going to have international business investments, when you're going to have tourist investments, tourists coming here. A person bringing their family is not going to bring their family to a places that have the reputation of a paqueteras. They're going to bring it to a place that's known to be, safe, family friendly, and not just, focusing on things like P for P. That's my feedback, my impression, in my opinion.
Great opinion, man. Great opinion. All right, Will, in closing, let me hear what you have to say regarding how do you think this benefits or doesn't benefit, or, just in general. What do you think in regards to them starting to turn people around? I like what Kobe said in regards to they are ramping up the arrest of these ladies. Now, that's one thing that that doesn't get as much shine as it should. But they are arresting these ladies of the last year way more than any other time I've seen since I've been here. So that's a good thing as well. But let me hear what you have to say, Will.
You're on mute, Will.
You're on mute.
Gotcha. Sorry. One of the things we have to look at is the political climate between the United States and Colombia. That's the first thing you have to look at. And I'm just going to utilize my experience here. So what you don't hear is the backdoor channels of the pressure of the United States and other nations that have pressured Colombia into doing more to protect its citizens. It's the same that if this was happening in the United States. So with the climate between Petro and with Trump, we all expected this to happen. So this is nothing new. It just so happens that it's such a dynamic topic because there's so many different factors that contribute to this. And you hit on this earlier years before. Colombia has to make these laws to protect citizens and things like that because people were just coming here doing stupid stuff. Far as individuals coming here, I definitely don't think it's racial or whatever anybody says it is. Because, you know, I listen to I look at the internet and, you know, you have a lot of, you know, content creators saying all Passport Brothers. They put it all on the Passport Brothers. But it's not just Passport Brothers. It's everybody from all countries. It's not just that. And they don't typically turn away women. But, you know, let's be honest. You have women that come here for sex tourism as well. That's a part that they don't talk about. Okay. I have witnessed that myself going to, like, when you actually go to Isla Fuerte, there are women that come down here paying Colombian guys to go on vacation with them. All right. I have talked to a Colombian guy and been there. And then I talked to the lady like, oh, you're American. Her husband in the States, but she here with this Colombian guy, her and her darn friend. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing is there's a lot of backdoor stuff that's going on. It's just that the women are quiet. That's why they don't get turned around. Okay. Because the women aren't out here going on the internet talking about, hey, look what I did. Look what I, did. Right. I party with the Colombian guy. So it is the guys from all races, whether it be black, white, people from other nations that have, talked about the Colombians. Colombians don't like to get embarrassed. So that's another reason. And, when I hear people complain about, oh, well, Colombia has a big problem with petties too. Yeah, they do. But that's the thing. They don't want outside, entities coming here because that would make it worse. And then that just gives a green light for everybody around the world to come here. I mean, that's kind of the same thing that was going on in Thailand in the early, times when they talk about the lady boys or people messing with the kids. So yes, Colombia is doing the right thing to take care of its people, is doing the right thing to filter out all the bad people. If you also notice all the people that you've seen get turned around, you've never seen anybody get turned around in a suit, have you? You've never seen anybody that was dressed nice. Everybody that I've ever seen, always looked the part. And that's why they got questioned, As a profiler, it's like this. I'm not trying to look for you, but if you're going to come to me looking like, okay, you got your sandals on, you don't know where you're going, you don't know your information, you're not answering the questions, and let's be honest, you're acting all scared, you're acting whatever. And so that's what the Colombians are doing. They're like, well, I'm going to just filter you out because if you don't know where you're going, why the hell should you be here in the first place? Let that sink in. If you don't know where you stand at in the Airbnb, if you don't know what your itinerary is, the only thing they're going to figure is that you're here for one thing and one thing only. And that is one of the traits of criminology, is not knowing or confused about what's going on around you. So let me just be honest with you. The Colombians are basically taking what we do, they're taking it from our playbook and they're using it not against us, they're using it to screen the people that are coming to their country to protect the women, to protect the children. And the problem is you still have people coming here doing that, And the thing is that, a lot of people, want to assume like, oh, well, I didn't do anything wrong, they're kicking me out. Well, it's the way you presented yourself. It's the way you present yourself. If you present yourself as a model citizen, you don't speak Spanish. That's another indicator right there. But they also turn away Spanish-speaking people. So with that being said, with what Kobe said, what T-Mac said, what you said, Dre, it's not going to end anytime soon. And even when all the businesses are built and everything is in full effect, this is something that's going to be here long term. It's not going away. So people might as well go ahead on and understand it's not going away. With the kind of money that's going to be coming into Colombia, with the kind of tourists from that high profile tourists. You just had 50 Cent here like a month and a half ago. I mean, at the J Balvin concert. So they are looking at what's going on, and they want a certain type of people. They want that New York feel of having everybody come here, just like they would go to New York, to a concert, like they would go to London and have a concert. They want that venue like those places that have actually serviced the greats in the past, like Michael Jackson. That's what Colombia is doing. And that, therefore, is going to drive up the price. They understand, they're looking at this from a business perspective. This is going to be a multi-billion dollar, industry for Colombia. If you go back and you look at China, how they looked 30 years ago, and then you look at the technology of what China has now, it is just like, wow. And that's, I'm not going to say that Colombia is going to be on the same path, but they are going to go that playbook. And the thing is, if you're not coming here under the right intentions, and like I said, I always dress, the part. I don't dress like the typical foreigner. I mean, I don't. I'm not a big tennis shoe person anyway. When I go to the airport, not unless I'm in country, then that's something that I do. But for the most part, I'm in jeans. I'm in actual shoes. I got, I'm not going to wear a sweater. Here in Savannah, it's a little cooler, so you can actually wear a sweater because, like I said, I'm kind of a little bit high up. But far as how things are going to happen with Colombia, you have to realize that it's not their fault. It's just that they're trying to protect their people and they're trying to protect tourists. So it's nothing personal, but yet people are going on the internet talking about, oh, Colombia's targeting me, Colombia's doing this. Well, let's just be honest, right? If you get that old saying, if you're going to give me some fuel, if you give fuel to fire, what's it going to do? It's going to burn, right? And that's exactly it. So that's what they're trying to do. They don't have a problem with the pay for play. The Colombian government doesn't have that. But you also have to understand there are several governments that are within Colombia. You have the actual state government, which is in Bogota, and then you have the different factions like Antioquia, in Cali. Every government has their own thing, and the thing is, they all are influenced even with migration. Just like the mayor of Medellin, he has a direct line to the migration people, man. And the thing is, he's instructed. He don't want trash in his city, and I don't blame the man. And the thing is, you don't want, there have been incidents where you've had Americans beat your girlfriends here. There's been a lot of things that people don't hear about. There's so much that goes on in Medellin. So one of the things we call, and I think you understand this, T, because military, we have blotter reports, and they have the same thing for the embassy. If you come out on that, I can guarantee you, when you come out on that, I will almost guarantee you that the Colombian government is rushing over to the American embassy, like, hey, what's going on, with your people? If you remember, the Russians did the same thing. Whenever some crap happened, they run over there to the American embassy, hey, what is your guy doing? It's the same thing. No government is different. So I think what people are not realizing is that Colombia is ran by the millionaires, just like the United States. It's not ran by poor people. And they have standards, and they want a certain standard to be met. And if that standard can't be met, then you got to take your ass back to your country of origin, or they're going to turn you around.
That's a good point. Tevin says this. He said, question, Andre and the brothers on the chat. He said, where can I invest my money? As someone on the outside looking in, hotels, restaurant, businesses, and stocks, etc. There is
you need to get a brokerage account. That's the first thing you need to start with. Because you ain't moving money. They need to get a brokerage account. You are not investing anything in Colombia. And let me tell you something. Just like what T said, it has to pass that test, okay? It has to pass that test for laundering. And that's what the brokerage account, because they know where that money comes from, and it goes through the central bank. The central bank then registers it. So you have to start a brokerage account here. And you can start that from the United States for Colombia. If you want to move money in, you can move money into Colombia, just like I give you the perfect example when I bought my car. I moved money into my personal account. Man, they froze that damn account for 2 weeks. Okay? I had to prove where that money was going. And so the dealer said, oh no, this is what that's for. And so then they release my money right away. But you have to prove where that money is coming from and where it's going to. And that's what the brokerage account is for.
That's absolutely correct. I forget the investment app, man. I'm gonna have to get back with you guys with the investment app, because I know there's an investment app that's here for those that are in South America that you use, and I forget which app it is that I use.
I use the Alliance app for the Colombian version, Alliance app. And the cool thing about that,
what is the Alliance app? That's the one I got. Alliance app.
And it also goes straight to Citibank. It's linked directly to Citibank in New York.
Yeah,
I was gonna add one more thing about an investment. If you want to do just like a quick, easy one, and you might have to have your scheduler for this, but the Colombian banks pay a heck of a lot higher interest than American banks do. So there was, a Rappi Cuenta, which is attached to Rappi Pay. It's like the banking portion of it. They had a promotion, and it typically ranges between 10 to 14%. And I screenshot it because people said I was lying to them, so I actually sent them the screenshot. And they had at one point a promotion that you put in the Rappi account, Rappi Cuenta, and you will gain 14%, APR on your money. I was like, I don't know what was the maximum on that, but I would put as much as I could into that at a 14% guaranteed APR. You can't get that in the United States. I was like, so that's just like something, it varies. I've seen it between 10 to 14%, but that's just a simple like an investment.
And you say inside the Rappi app?
That's called Rappi Cuenta. So inside the Rappi app, you can sign up for a Rappi Cuenta. So they'll do your full banking. So they want it to be, there's one bank that will be excluded from paying like taxes for transactions or whatever, the fees for transactions. So I have like multiple bank accounts. So you pick one bank account that's your primary, which for me would be Davivienda. But for Banco Colombia, when I do a transaction, or for let's say Nequi and other ones, they'll charge you like a small fee. I forgot what it's called, but you'll see it on the statement. It's because they're not your primary bank. So Rappi Cuenta was trying to convince me to do all my employee payroll and business account through them, and they had this promotion where they were doing like a 14%, that if you put your money into that account, and hold it, that's how much they would be paying you. But it's not continuous. It varies. I've seen it at 10, I've seen it at 12 and 14, and it looked too good to be true. That's why I had to screenshot it. Because this was a while ago. It was happening. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. And somebody called me, are you lying? Okay. I posted it right there in the chat. Oh, okay. It was a WhatsApp group. So they're like, okay, I guess you're right then. But all right. just to know, let people know, yes, to get a loan, yes, much higher interest rate, but also to if you want to get paid, interest on your money that's saved, it's also much higher. I'm sorry, Dre, go ahead.
We got Nordine in the building, and Nordine does not realize we are doing exit. Shout out to Nordine, and shout out to T-Mac with the $10 love on the Cash App. We are on our way out the door, Nordine. A lot of you guys are late. We are heading out, brother. I want to say thank you to all you guys, including Nordine, for all what you guys have shared tonight, man, in regards to some of the changes that are taking place in Medellin, in Medellin, and throughout Colombia. There are some positive things that are taking place that happen during the day as well as at night, and I want to have a group of individuals here that truly have had a positive experience with Colombia, as well as especially in Medellin. I think Medellin gets a bad rap because among Black males, we only sell a large portion of the small narrative about Medellin, and so the problem with that ends up being that the truth is not shared. But before we leave, we're gonna give our brother Noradine a moment to speak in regards to Medellin, Colombia. How you doing tonight, Noradine?
I'm doing okay. I'm getting my passport renewed and everything, but I just want to give a PSA to the White Walkers. The man caves are here. Grand Theft Auto 6 is on the way. Modern Warfare is on the way. The best way to defeat a White Walker is to have a man cave. If you see a house with cameras and a guy comes out and he has a hand scanner on, a biometric scanner, that's a man cave. I didn't say that the man caves were coming. The man caves are here. And when I was at my friend's man cave, you can live in them. I thought I was in John Wick. And I have another friend who did the same thing. I thought I was in a Las Vegas casino. And we're all waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. And once that happens, ladies, the White Walkers, y'all gonna cry in the car. So guys are working 40, 50, 60 hours. Once that Grand Theft Auto 6 get here, yeah. And you can play online. Be prepared to see a lot of guys not attend clubs and stuff. Wait, bank accounts are gonna get a lot bigger.
Yes, sir.
So remember, the man caves are here, ladies. I tried to warn y'all, but hey.
It's funny that you would say that, Noradine, in closing, that Andre and I have already had a conversation a couple weeks ago about me having a man cave apartment. I was like, oh, so you agree? Because my neighbor next door, he has a man cave apartment. That's why I never see him there. But every once in a while, then all of a sudden, I hear his jazz playing. His BB King collection is crazy. And he, I went over there the other day hanging out with him. He's got his Duke Ellington albums. He's got everything. And that's his man cave. And I was like, yo, woman, let you have a man cave apartment? He was like, yeah, man, we live on the other side of the city. He said, this is my hangout spot. For me, I bring my dog. He said, my wife shows up every once in a while, I came in and it was all set up straight man cave. So I went to my wife. I say, he got a man cave apartment. She was like, you know what? That would be a good idea for you. A nice little getaway spot, a 1-bedroom man cave. I said, what? I said, you could not get a woman in the United States agreeing with the man cave apartment. Shout out with the man cave.
And you can build it on the cheap. The Jumbotron, you don't even have to buy the Jumbotron. All you have to buy is a splitter, and you can go to Walmart and get like Vizio TVs for like $400 or $500 and create your own Jumbotron. When I was at my friend's place, yeah, you get a splitter, you go to Walmart, buy like now the 75-inch TVs are like, they used to be a couple $1,000. Those things are like, you sell them cheap for like $500, $600, $700. I'll show you. I'll send it to you if I have to. You could do that. When I walked into my friend's man cave the first time, he had a retinal scanner and a hand scanner. When I walked in, you heard the John Wick music playing, like it came on. And I was talking about, I had to come out and then come in. I'm like, am I at the Continental Hotel? He had a nice bar. He had big tables. He had a cute. You could build your Jumbotron. All you need is a splitter. You don't have to buy one. You could just split multiple games. And he had like 85-inch TVs on walls and video games. I was like, oh my God. And you could build it on the cheap. He built it for like $3,000. I was like, what? Like, what?
That's
popcorn machine, everything. Casino tables, pool tables. These guys, like I said, ladies, I was warning them about the man caves are coming. The man caves are coming. Now they're sprouting up like Christmas trees.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. I mean, I've seen guys who had comic book man caves. I've seen dudes with John Wick man caves. I've seen them with video game man caves. I've seen the Avengers man cave. I'm like, ladies, it's time to cry in the car. It's time. The White Walkers they're gonna be frozen. And you can't get in these man caves. They have it to where they have biometric scanners, like your thumbprint, and they have retinal scanners. You could buy a retinal scanner. You just go to the little spy shop. They have their retinal scanner. It does that, and they have cameras and motion sensors for the White Walkers. So he gets it on his phone. If anybody comes in his house, he knows. He's like, "Who is this?" And he can speak through the speakers. Yeah, guys are not playing.
Nordin, let me ask you this: you said you just got your passport, right?
No, I'm renewing my passport.
You are going to get that new Trump passport. You know,
And
Trump
the
is
card.
on a new passport, guys. Starting
Yeah,
this
I heard
week.
about that.
Yeah, I saw the passport. So as soon as you open up your passport, President Trump gonna be there for like the next 10 years.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He trying to get on a dollar bill. I told y'all the man was running for king, and people letting him be king.
Hey,
That dude
hey,
was
listen.
on the passport. You see that, Kobe? He right there on your passport.
Photo ID.
Yep, it's right there, President Trump from now on.
Huh.
I'm also getting the passport card. I'm also going back into driving school buses because my students miss me. So I'm going back, and we're making more money. And I'm telling you, you think it's bad now? I may be seeing more Passport Bro dads, Passport Bro Junior,
Yes, sir.
the new Passport Bro. I'm the former school bus driver that's going back. Every student I had down to a fifth grader had a passport card, or they had their passport. Their dad got them their passports after the lovely ladies were dancing on Kevin Samuel's grave.
Wow.
Yeah, you're telling us about
that. Yes. They were happy that he died. So they were like, you know what? My son is gonna get it. And when I came on his channel and literally said that the lovely ladies taught their daughters to dance on Kevin Samuel's grave, I will testify in a court of law. If you were to put me on the stand on a lie detector test, I will say yes. That's what I saw. It was right there for the world.
Wow.
They did it for the world to see. So a lot of them now, if they're not leaving the country, if you see a retinal scanner, that's a man cave.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we're about to head up out of here, do an outro video. Appreciate all the commentary that every one of you men had brought to the table tonight. Tomorrow night, I forget what the topic is, but we got to set up. Wait a minute. Tomorrow's night's topic is, oh man, I talked about it the other day. Oh, can you turn a hoe into a housewife in any country? In any country.
Hell no.
Yeah, of course you can, right?
That's tomorrow's show. Oh, it's a housewife in any country.
But you could have him get a man cave. I know that for sure.
Sure. Yes, sir. Man caves are a
Gotta have
must.
faith, man.
Oh yeah. You could have him get a man cave.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and do this outro. I appreciate you gentlemen being here. We're gonna do just one outro video. We're gonna do one. If it pops up for me, it's gonna have to be patient with that.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. living